ironically Huntsville, which Trump says will now be known as Rocket City. Trump says one of the problems he has had with Colorado is mail-in voting. A federal judge ruled today that Trump's deployment of National Guard troops to Los Angeles was illegal. CBS's Aaron Navarro at the White House.
This decision only applies to California, but the judge in his ruling showed concern over National Guard troops being called to other California cities like Oakland or San Francisco, and said that President Trump is, quote, essentially creating a national police force that he is chief of. We know that the Attorney General in Illinois has threatened to sue if the National Guard is deployed to Chicago.
The Pentagon has reportedly approved sending as many as 600 military lawyers to the Justice Department to serve as temporary immigration judges. In eastern Afghanistan, the search continues for victims of a major earthquake Sunday. Taliban officials say more than 1,400 people have died, but the BBC's Yogita Lamaya reports it's impossible to know for sure.
As far as death tolls are concerned, locally here in Afghanistan, if people are found dead under the rubble, what will usually happen is that they will be buried really quickly, according to local customs, and there will be nobody really recording these deaths. So the death toll that we're hearing from the UN or from the Taliban government here in Afghanistan, they're largely estimates, I would say.
Dozens of climate scientists are rejecting a recent report published by the Energy Department on greenhouse gas emissions. CBS's David Schechter.
Today's new report from those 85 concerned climate scientists concludes, in an effort to minimize the threats, our government is sidestepping the negative impacts of climate change. It's misquoting international reports and oversimplifying and mixing up study results.
Nearly 40 years after breaking off from Antarctica, a massive iceberg the size of Greater London is finally crumbling in the warmer waters. It was among the largest ever recorded. It can now disappear within weeks. The Trump administration's immigration crackdown is having an impact on beer sales, as Jim Krasula reports.
Constellation Brands, the company that sells Modelo and Corona beers in the U.S., says that Hispanic consumers are buying less beer. The company says people, especially Hispanics, are making fewer trips to buy beer and are spending less per trip. Beer sales are also down among Hispanics since they fear being in social gatherings because of the increased immigration enforcement.
On Wall Street, stocks are lower today. This is CBS News.
Are you looking to hire? ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Don't put away that fan just yet. Another week of heat ahead. But first, Nate Connors is at the KIRO Newsradio Traffic Desk.
Hey, thanks, Heather. Lake Washington Windows and Doors has the update. Good news, West Seattle, we just cleared that disabled vehicle from the West Seattle Bridge on-ramp to North 5. We still have a solid backup, though, starting at Highway 99, but this will begin to clear out pretty quickly now. Got a big crash in Renton, North 405 and Northeast 44th, blocking 2 left lanes, including the HOV. This is just past this crash. We have a disabled box truck blocking your right lane, so right now you're doing a little zigzag action through the scene. You're backed up to the Maple Valley Highway. Renton to Bellevue's at 40 minutes. That's double the norm. Up in Linwood, southbound 99 at 148th, a collision is blocking part of the intersection here, affecting southbound 99 and westbound 148th. Drivers are not able to cross the intersection. Snoqualmie Pass, if you're heading up that way, eastbound 90 has a 5-mile bumper-to-bumper backup heading up to the summit due to road work. And JBLM Tacoma to Olympia has gone up about 50 minutes, where we have a little backup forming there, South 5 near the main gate. Lake Washington Windows Autumn Savings Event is on now. Save $500 per window, $1,000 per door, plus 12 months same as cash financing. Details at lakewashingtonwindows.com. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon, I'm Heather Bosch. Summer isn't done with Western Washington yet. KIRO News Radio meteorologist Ted Beener says high temperatures are going to start pushing toward 80 midweek, but unlike earlier this summer, it should cool off at night.
Most places will be in the 50s. Here in the immediate city might be right around 60 degrees. But, we've reached that time of year. Days are getting shorter. Nights are getting longer, so we have a better chance to cool off at night.
High temperatures are forecast to cool down into the 70s this weekend. We now know the identity of the woman who was killed when a car crashed into a Kirkland grocery outlet. KIRO 7 TV's Dee Sun has more.
St. John's Episcopal Church says the victim was Sheila Stanton. They describe her as a vibrant community member, someone with a thoughtful, kind, and wise presence, and a leader of Juneteenth events in Kirkland.
It makes you realize any given moment, right? Things like that can happen, but certainly don't expect it.
Kirkland police say the 74-year-old driver was driving a new car, and she's not expected to face charges. Investigators tell KIRO 7 they believe this was a tragic accident.
But investigators are waiting for results of a blood test to see if drugs or alcohol were involved, too. Friends and family of a beloved Seattle musician killed in a Wallingford arson in June honored her life at a weekend service. Friends of Lizette Clee tell KIRO 7 TV.
We used to play for the Seafair Float.
Yeah, she played the alto sax in our big band, and she played the alto sax in the West Seattle Big Band Orchestra.
I loved her. Yeah, she is a sweet person.
Police are still searching for the person who set fire to Clee's home. Over the weekend, loved ones of a missing Arlington man held a walkathon on his 22nd birthday to encourage people to keep looking for him. Some of the participants wore T-shirts with Jonathan Huang's photo on the front, telling KIRO 7 TV.
So people think about him and see his face and hopefully remember what he looks like. So in case they spot him, that they'll call 911.
Huang, who is autistic, wandered away from his Arlington home in March and may have been spotted on a Kirkland Ring camera in June. Seattle's Museum of Pop Culture is saying goodbye to an iconic exhibit. The Wrap reports the Nirvana display will close September 7th after a 14-year run. Fans of the groundbreaking grunge band are not happy, but the museum says the space will make way for a new exhibit on Northwest music. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Partly sunny skies today with highs in the mid-70s. It's 65 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with the KIRO Newsradio App. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO Newsradio, Northwest News. It's the all-new Jake and Spike Show on KIRO Newsradio.
Welcome to the show. Happy Tuesday, September 2nd. It's already September. That's insane. Jake Skorheim here. Spike O'Neill is not in today. He's on vacation. He's enjoying this last blast of summer on the East Coast and hanging out. So sitting in is Greg Tomlin, who joins us. Greg, welcome to the show.
What's up, Jake? Good to see you. How was the long weekend?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Super long. I was off Friday, so I had 4 days. Went out to the in-laws, chased kids around. It was exhausting. Now I'm back here.
Speaking of the kids, are the kiddos back at their respective institutes of learning yet?
Mine are not yet. They start school tomorrow, I think, is the first day. And actually, my kindergartner started last week. But yeah, they start school tomorrow, and everybody's back in. How about your kids?
All three of mine were back today. Got the back to school photo on the front porch. Thankfully, now all three kids get the picture that we'll be viewing these for years to come. So I got fake smiles out of all three. It was a splendid morning. But I for one, am very happy about the fact that the children are back at school. It was it's a nice summer.
As your wife.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so
my wife is she's looking forward to it. As am I. No, it's great. All right, we got a lot of stuff to get to. Let's jump right into first things first. Tons of stories. We're going to have some fun guests today. We're going to have some great stories. We're going to have some unbelievable numbers to share with you, starting right off with Sound Transit. This was very exciting. They put out this post on their social media page. They said on December 6th, say hello to new one-line stations in Kent, Des Moines, Star Lake, and Federal Way downtown. I actually reposted this, and I asked them what year that they were saying. They didn't respond, but I assume they mean this year. They said, get ready to ride and stay tuned for opening day celebration details. They're very, very excited, and they're trying to highlight these new stations that are coming online and opening up. I started looking into this. Seattle Times actually did a pretty deep dive, and they did a really good job with some of the numbers. But this is something that a lot of people here locally have had their eye on for a long time. Most notably, my former boss, Dory Monson, who we are fortunate enough to even be able to sit in the same studio that he was in. But he was predicting for years how crazy expensive Sound Transit was, how much the light rail was costing. Was it actually useful in terms of percentage of users and riders versus the cost, how much they're spending on it? And Seattle Times did this deep dive. And listen to these numbers. This is crazy. In 2016, ST3 was sold to the voters because Sound Transit is separate from all the taxes that go towards all of our roads. So like the transportation budget in Washington is a completely separate thing from Sound Transit, which makes sense. But they sold this idea to voters. They said, hey, we want to complete ST3 by such and such a year. I think originally it was supposed to be, in the 2040s or 2030s somewhere. And they said it's going to cost $54 billion, which is not a small amount of money. And that number has just like a frog in the boiling pot of water gotten worse and worse and worse. And until recently, that number was sitting at about $150 billion. Now, they originally sold it as $54 billion. Then it was kind of ramped up to $150 billion, 3 times the cost. And then on Thursday, the same time that they're announcing these stations that are opening up, in many cases, many, many years late, they also dropped kind of a bomb. Listen to this. This is from a Seattle Times article. Sound Transit revealed Thursday that its long-term costs are expected to soar by 20 to 25% as the agency deals with runaway construction inflation and modernization projects to make train service more dependable. Sound Transit CEO Dow Constantine, take that with a grain of salt, he said this spring that everything is on the table and that he hopes a fresh look will improve future transit. And then in this article, they dropped the number, the extra money that they're going to need to complete this thing, which when you hear the number, you just think to yourself, there's just no way this is even going to do it. The number they gave is $35 billion.
Oh, just 35. Okay.
$35 billion on top of the extra $100 billion, which was already on top of the $56 billion for the original price. So now the new price to finish ST3 is $185 billion.
It's quite remarkable, Jake. Yeah, and you're right to point out the numbers here right at the outset. And these new routes that are going to go well outside the Seattle area are going to carry far fewer riders than the heart of the city, but still at that exorbitant cost. Ridership is falling short of expectations. I think if you look up mismanagement in the dictionary, you're going to find the logo of Sound Transit right there. They get more than $2.5 billion per year from sales tax, property tax, motor vehicle excise tax, farebox revenue, federal grants, you name it. Yet they constantly have cost overruns,
do you know what
budget gaps, shortfalls.
Listen to this.
On and on and on.
Listen to this. This is crazy. So I crunched some of these numbers. I went into their actual budget and I read through. It's 267 pages. They didn't read everything, but I put it through an AI thing that said, hey, show me the actual budget numbers, because it's been reported in various places, but I wanted some AI on it. So when you add in, they call it revenue, but it's taxes. When you add in that plus federal grants and all these different things, their budget annually is 4.4. It's like 4.37 billion, but rounded up. So $4.4 billion. Now, for the entire state of Washington, the transportation budget for the entire state, which includes Washington State Patrol, everything that keeps our roads safe, maintains roads, keeps the infrastructure going, building new infrastructure, that's only like $7.75 billion for the entire state. But just Sound Transit per year is accounting for $4.4 billion. Now that's extra taxes. This is a fun trick question, and I'm going to ask you this, and in the audience, you guys can text me if you'd like to take a guess at this. Greg, you might already know because you've been doing some research, but Laura, did you research the percentage of ridership who ride Sound Transit?
I did not. You told me it was going to shock me.
Okay. It will shock you. All right, so this is according to Washington Policy Center, put together this really great breakdown of how many people will actually be riding the 100, what is this? It's going to be, by the time it finishes, it's going to be how many miles? This Link Light Rail service. I think it's going to be 125-mile light rail line by the time it's completely fully finished, which is going to be well into the 2040s, if ever.
Is that like Ballard, West Seattle,
Everything.
Across the lake?
Everything. Yeah.
Okay.
What is it? What would you guess the percentage of people who would ride that is? Now remember, Sound Transit has a budget yearly that's half of the entire transportation budget for the entire state. Every road, every bridge, everything. Sound Transit has more than half of that budget every single year. So what percentage of riders do you think actually use Sound Transit?
I would expect it to be like 35 to 40%. Like 50 is generous, but
50 would be great.
Sure.
So if they're spending, but that would actually, the numbers would add up, and that would make sense. If you're spending half of what the state's transportation budget is, you would expect, well, I guess you're shooting for at least half of people who would commute to be using the train, right?
That would be commensurate. That would be proportional, right, Jake?
But I'm going to be realistic, and I'm going to guess 35.
35. Okay.
I think it's way lower than that.
Do you know the number?
I don't know the number, but I'm going to guess like 6% or less.
Okay, you're guessing 6%, which would be shocking if it was 6%, right, Laura? 6% would be shocking.
Yeah, objectively.
Text us on the text line what you think the number is.
Oh, you're going to withhold it for a while?
I'm going to withhold it for the next 3 minutes.
Let the game carry out a little bit.
And I want to see what people's ideas. And Laura, if you could pull up the text line, just get people's ideas. 888-973-5476. I will say it is somewhere below 35%, which is what Laura's guess was. It's somewhere below 35%.
But Jake, I want to personalize this for people too, because we've thrown out a lot of numbers, a lot of percentages, and people are saying, well, does it really affect me? Does it really affect my pocketbook?
Yes.
Because I see a number like $1 billion, and I'm wondering, well, how does that translate to my wallet or purse, so to speak? The average household in the region pays over $1,700 per year in taxes to Sound Transit, and those costs are only estimated to go up in the coming years. I mean that's astounding. That's real money. You want to talk about a region with an affordability crisis? It's things like this, left and right, that just continue to add up, where you're not exactly getting a lot of bang for your buck.
Not a lot. That's generous.
Well,
you're not getting bang for your buck.
Okay, and
when I spend a buck, I would like the bang, please.
At the end of July, the Sound Transit they gave a presentation outlining what they called an enterprise initiative. Does that sound like bureaucratic speak? Like no other. It was intended to ensure that they could deliver the greatest benefits of ST3 within available financial capacity.
The greatest benefit would be to just shut it down. That would be the greatest benefit. Quit taking money.
But this meeting was apparently full of bureaucratic speak and lacking in any real cost data, which is not a good sign. Furthermore, if Sound Transit isn't the solution, if light rail isn't the solution, which I think you and I, it sounds like we kind of agree on that, which is unfortunate, and it's not a trivial matter because it's very impactful in terms of the money it's bringing in and the lackluster effect it's had on this region, in spite of promises that have been made, right? This is going to be this wonderful new thing that's going to come here. And yeah, we're behind the 8 ball on there. We're behind the game on this. And we want to be like New York and create a system just like them. I'm sorry, you're discounting the fact that these billions could have gone to improved bus services, more hot lanes. And furthermore, Jake, what about this? It's not a non sequitur. What about the autonomous vehicle technology revolution that is just around the corner?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay?
Yeah.
Which is going to do far more to alleviate not just traffic fatalities, but also traffic.
Well, they can't go any
general.
faster in traffic, right?
What? The autonomous vehicles?
Car?
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, if they're all on some kind of the same page with each other, you take the human element out of it. I imagine computers could get it done faster.
So almost like they were tied in a line and on some kind of track, like a train.
Yeah, but they don't just have one route that a train has.
Here's the problem with that analogy, though. The train is a cost that everybody has to pay. Those autonomous vehicles are purchased individually by those people, which does make a lot more sense. They're also way more comfortable. I'd much rather be in like a nice Tesla or like some sweet new Kia has sweet, awesome electric vehicles.
And again, they're not
themselves.
confined to one track where there's no parking when you get out. Like it boggles the mind, Jake.
This is a really stupid thing, but it's tough to fathom how much money $185 billion is, and I can't really make it make sense to because it doesn't make sense to me. There's two things that worry. There's a lot of things that worry me about this, but I did break this down into some like stupid things that I can understand because I'm not a smart man. Here's how much $1 billion is. If you were to stack $1 billion, and then remember, this is all going to be controlled by Dow Constantine. Dow Constantine is going to be controlling all of this money over the next however many years.
What could go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong? If you were to stack $1 billion on top, like, you have like a stack of cash, like a gangster wad, like a stack of cash.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to stack $1 billion, one on top of the other, do you know how tall that would be? Now, this is a stupid analogy.
I like it.
Okay.
Keep it going.
If you were to stack $1 billion, one on top of the other, how high would it reach?
To the moon and back.
67.8 miles.
Really?
Isn't that amazing? 67.8 miles. Now multiply that by 185, and this is what I'm feeling.
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Crazy pill. Now, nobody's going to stack $1 billion. I understand that. But I think it's just helpful to give you some sense of how much money we're talking about. The other thing is, and Seattle Times points this out, they don't even know how they're going to pay for this. Dow Constantine's giving speeches now where he's going to be meeting and saying, hey, listen, we don't know. Everything is on the table. He says, I've been encouraging people to think blue sky. And that means questions we thought were asked and answered can be reopened. We're not going to be weighed down by the assumptions of the past. What are they going to do? How are they going to come up with this extra money? $35 billion is a lot of extra money to come up with. Where's it going to come from? We're already being, like you said, $1,700 a person. That's a lot of money to take out of people's pockets. And now here's the number that everybody's been waiting for. The percentage of riders who ride this thing, when it's fully constructed, if it ever gets there. You ready for this, Laura?
I'm ready.
1.2%.
What?
Wow.
1.2%.
I swear I got screwed on the...
1.2% of the population will actually take this train in its full functioning capacity to get themselves around.
Wow.
1.2%. And yet they're spending half of the state's transportation budget. Additionally, not just like they're taking half of the budget. That would actually be better.
But is the theory if you build it, they will come?
No, that's not the case. Because they are building it and they're not coming.
And they haven't come.
There's 400,000 more. Since they started this thing, there's 400,000 more people in Washington State because we've had a crazy growing economy. There's all these new tech jobs. We actually have less ridership now than we did in 2017. There's actually fewer riders. And then they found that the new people who do ride Sound Transit and specifically the light rail are actually being poached from other forms of Sound Transit. So like the metro system, they're coming off of the metro system and they're moving to the bus. So you're not actually gaining a new rider. You're not converting somebody who was in a car. You're just kind of taking your own rider that you already were accounting for. And so ridership in all these other areas is way down, like to the tune of like 10 million. And some of them are shifting over, like 10 million rides. They're shifting over to Sound Transit, some of them. But as a whole, they have like 4 million fewer riders today than they did in 2017. And we're spending, and then they say, can we have $35 billion extra, please? Actually, I don't even think they're saying it. I don't even know where they're going to get this money. And I don't want to sound like a crazy person, but I know I kind of sound crazy.
No,
right
I
now.
don't think you sound crazy at all. It's one of the frustrating parts of longevity being in this industry, Jake. You hearken back to the days of Dory Monson when he was warning about all this and the exorbitant costs.
Who
and
was just a prophet, who just saw everything as it was.
He read the tea leaves and he was spot on. And so I think this segment is in part honoring his legacy because he was warning about all this, as was my good friend who I still work for, Michael Medved, in this building
100%.
years ago.
Yeah.
Hated light rail because they said this was not going to do much for this region in terms of a positive impact. And furthermore, it was going to cost just an exorbitant amount for taxpayers.
2017.
Reward them with nada.
With nothing. 2017, 45.8 million riders, Sound Transit. That's what they counted.
But the lesson hasn't been learned. And it's been decades, Jake.
2024, 40.1 million riders. So you're delivering less riders and you're spending more money. Those two things don't equate.
Make it make sense.
It doesn't work. Like I don't understand where they just get $35 billion. Like where's Dow Constantine going to get $35 billion? And I guarantee you at the end of that, they're going to go, well, 185 was unrealistic. So it's actually going to be like 210, 215-ish. That's so much money. I don't know. It feels crazy to me, but maybe I'm crazy. Maybe you're crazy. Maybe we're all crazy. Hit us up on the text line, 888-973-5476. Luke Ducey joins us next. This is a really scary story. There was a woman's business who was shut down by social media companies, which is where everybody advertises now. You run your business on these things. Shut down for kind of an insane reason. And she's like, wait. No. This didn't happen. This wasn't me. But did she get her business back? We'll talk to Luke about it next. Stick around.
Man wide open, touchdown Seahawks.
Celebrating 50 years of Seahawks football with the voice of the Seahawks, Steve Rabel.
Number 71, Walter Jones, left tackle. The anchor to the left side of the offensive line for the Seahawks that went to the Super Bowl. One of the best players in franchise history.
Since the beginning, KIRO is where Seattle and the Pacific Northwest have heard the Seahawks play. Here's to the next 50 years.
One thing you can always count on is a change in the weather.
Time to protect your home now with the help from the pros at Integrity Roofing and Construction. With years of experience in roofing and restoration, their skilled team delivers exceptional craftsmanship, whether it's a simple roof repair or a full renovation. Integrity offers free estimates, and their customer satisfaction speaks for itself. Don't wait until the next storm hits. Schedule your free estimate today. Call Integrity at 206-202-ROOF or visit online at integrityrc.com. That's integrityrc.com.
Upgrade your home comfort and save 20% during the Bob's Heating preseason furnace sale. With great savings plus free financing on heat pumps, water heaters, generators, and more, our award-winning team has what you need to stay cozy this chilly season at a cost you're comfortable with. Voted best in the Pacific Northwest, we're honored to be your dedicated home comfort company since 1957. Call Bob's and save today.
Bob's Heating and Air Conditioning. Call Bob.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Summer's almost over, but the heat is pressing on. If you've got battery trouble, stop by AutoZone for free battery testing. It may just need a charge, and we'll do that for free too. If you do need a battery, we've got options starting at just $89.99. And we'll recycle your old battery for free. Now that's a strong start. Don't miss the end of summer sale. Now at AutoZone until September 22nd. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
When you bundle renters and auto with Progressive, you can save while protecting your most valuable possessions. Like your really expensive limited edition sneakers and your new suit for your cousin's wedding. Except you never actually bought the suit because you can't stop buying sneakers. So you show up to the wedding looking like you're going grocery shopping. But hey, at least your sneakers will look good in the pictures. Until you're cropped out of every last one of them. So go ahead and get Progressive so you can save while protecting the things that matter to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
With football season comes cooler weather, so if you need new windows and doors, don't drop the ball. Steve Rabel here. Call on locally owned Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington to tackle your project. Their wide selection of windows and doors always beats the competition, and they'll give you top-notch customer service with no trick plays. Schedule a free consultation with Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. Go to PellaPNW.com. That's PellaPNW.com.
Have you heard the saying, chuck in a truck? The guy running a roofing company out of his messy pickup? Well, here's the scary part. Washington doesn't require a test or experience to be a licensed roofer, and they definitely don't require a brick and mortar location. Chuck could be working out of his apartment with 0 employees, hiring random guys off the street. Yikes. And the SBA says 90% of roofers are out of business within 5 years. Jim here, Chief Roof Nerd at RoofSmart, where we do things right. We have a real location on Central Avenue in Kent and a team of 50 full-time roofing pros who actually know what they're doing. We're not some fly-by-night outfit. We've put down roots, or in our case, a cement foundation, so you'll always know where to find us. No disappearing acts, no cut corners, just top-quality work from people you can trust. That's RoofSmart. Come see for yourself, or call us at 206-487-4877 or visit us online at GetRoofSmart.com. That's 206-487-4877 or GetRoofSmart.com.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-972-0588. 800-972-0588. 800-972-0588.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hey, this is Pete from Home Matters. Tune in this weekend when we'll talk with local business owners about everything in and around your home. Join us on Saturdays from 2 to 3 right here on KIRO News Radio or listen to the podcast on MyNorthwest.com.
The absolute best savings on a hot tub aren't at the fair. They're at Olympic Hot Tub. Get a truly untoppable deal. Purchase a saltwater hot spring spa and get a Lux Smart Top hardcover free. OlympicHotTub.com. Better you, better life.
Save 50 to 75% by combining tax credits, rebates, and incentives on a new heat pump from Home Comfort Alliance. Visit homecomfortalliance.com.
At Madrona Financial and CPAs, we believe there are 7 steps that must be taken in preparation for a successful retirement. Retirement needs more than just a basic income plan. Hi, Jeff here with Madrona Financial and CPAs. Don't settle for a partial plan. Get the real deal by requesting your no-cost Madrona analysis today and discover what you may be missing. Call 833-673-7373 right now to request your analysis. That's 833-673-7373.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Heather Bosch. President Trump today announced U.S. Space Command headquarters will move from Colorado to Alabama. Trump says experts recommended Huntsville as a good location for it, and the Alabama congressional delegation had pushed for it. The president said this was also a factor.
Problem I have with Colorado, one of the big problems, they do mail-in voting. They went to all mail-in voting, so they have automatically crooked elections.
There's no proof mail-in voting increases fraud. Trump also said he will be sending National Guard troops to Chicago because of crime there.
There were shots?
5 total shot.
At least 7 people were killed in Chicago this past weekend and dozens injured. And even though city numbers show a 33% reduction in homicides in the first 6 months of this year, former Chicago Police Commander Patty Casey says,
who cares if crime's down when you have that kind of statistic?
But thousands turned out for a Labor Day march, many saying Chicago won't stand for martial law. Allison Keyes, CBS News.
A judge has ruled it was illegal for President Trump to send the National Guard to Los Angeles during immigration protests. Troops cannot be used for civilian law enforcement. Trump's border czar has suggested sending National Guard troops to New York, Portland, and Seattle to enforce immigration laws. This weekend, Seattle's Capitol Hill neighborhood was part of a wave of protests across the country.
The Workers Over Billionaires March through the streets of Capitol Hill culminated with the keynote speaker, Attorney General Nick Brown, talking about protecting workers' rights. KIRO 7 TV was there.
And I love coming to work every day because the work that we do matters.
Hundreds of other people at the march protested several other issues as well, from cuts to Medicaid to the U.S. role in Gaza. No arrests and no violence during the demonstrations. Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio.
SeaTac Airport says it's expecting 191,000 people for the post-holiday rush. This traveler telling KIRO 7 TV.
Don't want to miss the flight or anything like that, but I usually try my best to plan as far ahead as I can.
Good advice. Travel experts suggest checking in a day before your flight, getting to the airport early, and planning where you're going to park or get your ride. No winner over the weekend.
It's time for America's favorite jackpot game. Get ready, everybody. This is Powerball.
The jackpot for Wednesday's Powerball drawing is an estimated $1.3 billion. The jackpot has been growing since May. Wall Street is worried about tariffs again. The Dow is down 318 points, NASDAQ off 208. Nate Connors is at the KIRO News Radio traffic desk.
Thanks, Heather. We cleared our earlier collision in Renton, North 405 and Northeast 44th, but then that stall just past that remains there in your right lane. Backup is thinning out, but you're still slow from the Renton landing. Renton to Bellevue, you're down to a half-hour commute. We also cleared our collision in Linwood, southbound 99 at 148th, opening up that intersection. Heading into Seattle looks pretty good. North 5, you've got a brief backup at the north end of Boeing Field to just past the West Seattle Bridge. South 5 has a little minor backup there in Northgate. Linwood to Seattle's at 20 minutes. Now, if you're heading towards Snoqualmie Pass, eastbound 90, our backup is growing from due to road work. We're now looking at a 7-mile bumper-to-bumper backup approaching the summit. North Bend to Ellensburg has a half-hour delay. And on the water, the Kingston Ferry Terminal reporting a 1-hour wait for drivers. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Partly sunny skies today with highs in the mid-70s. It's 65 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
All right, welcome back to the show. Very excited to have Luke Ducey join us. Luke, welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on. You got a good story on mynorthwest.com. Is this a cautionary tale for people? What is the lesson? What's the takeaway from the story?
I think it's kind of all of the above. It's cautionary. It's be aware of what's going on the internet and what you're doing. Be aware that there are bad people on the internet. Be aware that mistakes are made. It's like somebody
might
bunch of
think
stuff.
You're a bad person on the internet.
Yeah.
So there's a local business owner who reached out to you and was like, hey, I'm not getting the fair shake over at Meta and a bunch of other social media platforms, and was being accused of some pretty awful things. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so woman, her name is Riley. We'll keep her last name out of this. Emailed us like more than a month ago, and she told us that all of her personal accounts, she was like starting her own photography business and some other businesses on those personal accounts that she opened, but also business accounts that she did not open. They're on Instagram, but she manages those for other businesses. They were all suspended. Because Instagram told her they violated terms of use when it came to child sexual exploitation.
Yikes.
And that it was under review, which is a huge flag for her, huge flag for us, huge flag for me. You know, when someone comes to you and say, hey, I've got this issue, please tell this story, get it out there. You know, I'm not going to turn around tomorrow. It's let me get it out there.
Yeah, you're not jumping to like defend this person.
I don't know her.
When they're associated with this. But yeah,
Don't know her. And also, you know, I have worked in tech, and I know that companies that deal in this every day, every hour, they have teams dedicated to this. I know that one company in particular has to rotate people out of that team because they see things that, you know, no one wants to see on the internet because they're screening people's accounts. And if they find CSAM, which stands for Child Sexual Abuse Material, they immediately freeze those accounts. They refer those accounts to law enforcement. And they don't tag people willy-nilly. It's not like, I think they are. It's some pretty serious stuff. And so if you have one account, but you have multiple channels, they're all suspended. It doesn't matter. Everything that's associated with your name. So I had a lot of questions for her. I asked her if there's anyone on her accounts other than her, et cetera. You know, tell you more about the violation. I didn't want all the details, but and I understood really quickly that she didn't understand the severity, and maybe that played too, and it did in the end, that, you know, she was innocent of this, and she kept thinking maybe it was because I took some, you know, photos of my friends and I at the beach. It's like, no, that's not it.
Yeah.
You know, but just so I interviewed her, just like a photographer. You take the shot first, and then you debate about it later because you want to get. There's no debate if you don't have the material and to talk about. So this was her during the interview when she kind of started to get it, and she started to break down a little bit.
I'm younger siblings. Like, I would, like, no, that's just terrible.
Yeah, so very serious. She appealed the suspension, considered joining a class action lawsuit over this against Meta and Instagram. She contacted the Attorney General's office, so she's pretty serious about what she's doing. And then she shared screenshots, and she got an apology from Meta saying, hey, we messed up. We're reinstating all your accounts. It was our AI that screwed this up. And apparently it happens more and more.
So AI just misidentified something in her pictures or whatever she was doing and put her onto this. I mean, that's a really serious offense. It's not like they're accusing her of, cursing in a way that they didn't find approved on the platform. You can't really be accused of anything worse online if you run a business than sexual exploitation. And they just lumped her in that. Did she lose money because of this?
Yeah, I mean, that's why she was considering lawsuits and legal action, and coming to us like, what can I do? Because think about it, she's got years dedicated to material that she is safeguarding on Instagram and Meta of her own personal, trying to get her own stuff, business going, her side hustle, but also her main business is looking out for these other businesses and all of their testimonials and years of people contributing and photos of events and things. All that she thought it was gone. Years of that material.
Luke, do you have any numbers or data on how prevalent this is or how isolated cases like this are where accounts are unjustly targeted? Again, it sounds like AI has been deployed with the best of intentions here because, look, 3.5 billion daily active users on Meta platforms, okay? And sexploitation has gone through the roof online, on social media, on things that look as innocent as like Roblox for kids. There's predators everywhere. Ugh. Bad guys will find ways to use the internet for their awful purposes. And so it's hard to imagine that there's people combing through each account to make sure that they're above board or if they're doing anything nefarious. So yeah, you got to deploy a technology to go after it. So then unquestionably, there's going to be some kind of collateral damage here. And it's kind of a trade-off. So is this something that they're just willing to accept that, hey, yeah, we understand that some accounts might get swept up in this and are unfairly targeted, and then we'll eventually get around to correcting the mistake. What does Meta say about it?
Hard numbers are tough to come by. It's in the thousands of people affected if you read, and then if you read others, it's the tens of thousands. A lot of people making different claims here and there, but there's nothing really concrete. And companies like Meta aren't going to come out and say, here's the statistics that we're doing.
Right.
But you're right. It's a double-edged, I'm not going to say sword, but it's a double-edged issue here. 3.5 billion users, you have to use a tool like AI to screen. You cannot comb through that many. And of course, they want to get that kind of CSAM and other materials off the internet, out of the hands of bad guys, and do away with it. We all want that. And they want to do the right thing as well. So they're trying. Combination of mistake with AI, I don't know. They're not going to tell us whether or not it saw something in that specific account, but maybe it's something else that triggered it. So it's a combination of using a tool and technology to screen for these things, but also, having to retool the tool because it learns, and you've got to fix that AI system as well in order. And they've said that they're working on that as well, and that we're sorry, but sometimes it gets it wrong, but we err on the side of safety and precaution.
Right. Well, and just another reminder, though, that artificial intelligence is still a work in progress, and the kinks are getting worked out, yet the stakes on issues like this are so high. So it's interesting to sort of see the process and the journey of this technology play out when you have really, really big issues at stake.
It's interesting, too, because in the earlier days of social media, where mostly it was just personal accounts and people were exchanging, like maybe your account might be suspended and the only cost would be you can't send messages, like stupid messages to your friends or whatever if it was a mistaken, shutdown. But now businesses, it's such a massive marketplace for businesses. And then if you lose your business, it's not tough to, your business could easily shut down. If you go a couple months without revenue and you're not ready for that, then she could easily have lost everything. So I'm happy that she's still in business. I'm happy that she reached out to you. Good job on you for following up on it. And I'm glad she got reinstated. I hope they make her whole. If they did shut it down by mistake, are they going to send her a check? Do we know?
That's a whole nother process, and probably not, to be honest. But that's a whole nother process. Now now you've got to make a claim, and the company.
How do you prove
the terms of service are probably pretty ironclad,
right? And you're capitulating to their terms of service. At some point, and think about this: when you post these things on your social media channels, folks, like your photos on Facebook stuff, you don't own that. As soon as you post it, you don't own that.
Right.
They own it.
You know what else is scary? And I know we got to go here, but the idea, if these platforms just went away. Like instantly went away, just disappeared.
Could you imagine?
Think of how much of the economy is now tied up in this online media, social media space. And if it just disappeared, now that's not going to happen. There's a lot of money invested in making sure that doesn't happen. Like there's part of me that goes, oh, wouldn't that be great if we weren't all such like tied in with this stupid social media? But then there's all these dollars that get lost too, and so it's a tricky place to be.
It's a gray area for sure. It's not, no concrete answers, but that's one tale for you right there.
All right, that's Luke Ducey. He's got a lot of great stuff. Check him out on mynorthwest.com. Always a great read and a great guest. Thanks again for coming in, Luke. We have a lot more coming up. In fact, next, Costco has been doing something that I love that is apparently very controversial. I don't understand it, but we will chat about it next. Stick around.
The Northwest's trusted news source, KIRO News Radio.
Police in Federal Way are investigating what appears to be a car explosion.
KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey is live from the neighborhood.
I can't tell you enough how crazy this scene is here.
Coverage you depend on.
A massive police presence in Kent.
From voices you know and trust.
We have an active fire inside one of these buildings here.
KIRO News Radio. On 97.3 FM, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
If you've been considering upgrading your siding, now is the perfect time. Hi, I'm Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. In the Pacific Northwest, moisture is the enemy. Old failing siding leads to hidden water damage, rot, and mold. State Roofing and Exteriors is a James Hardy preferred contractor with over 55 years of siding expertise. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com to schedule your siding inspection today. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
State Roofing, the best roof you'll ever need.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true.
Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Mom, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotion. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. Consequently, they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Dial pound 250 and say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk. Everything you need and nothing you don't.
A serial killer on the prowl for teen girls in the Pacific Northwest. At least 2 escaped.
She literally crawled out of her grave. Just a miracle that she survived.
Hear their stories. Follow Stolen Voices of Dole Valley now.
You hear that? That's the sound of your business losing money. Legacy phone systems weren't built for today's teams. OpenPhone gives your business a smarter way to stay connected. OpenPhone lets you manage calls, texts, voicemail, and contacts all in one place so that you and your team can deliver a seamless customer experience from ring to... Need to take calls on the go? OpenPhone automatically transcribes, summarizes, and highlights next steps from every call, so you never miss a detail. Need insight into what closes a sale? With OpenPhone's AI call tags, you can instantly spot key topics like objections or pricing questions, and use those insights to coach your team and level up every customer interaction. And yes, you can bring your existing number with you for free. Keep your team in sync and your customers happy with OpenPhone. OpenPhone. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try OpenPhone for free at openphone.com/free and get 20% off your first 6 months. That's openphone.com/free. openphone.com/FREE.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owed the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me. They calm me down. They make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-972-0588. 800-972-0588. 800-972-0588.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Help create a future with no more drunk driving victims. Join Molly Shen and the Davis Law Group for Move with MAD, September 13th at Red Square, Central Plaza on the UW campus. Move with MAD raises awareness and funds to help end drunk driving and prevent underage drinking. Every step taken and every dollar raised can help keep our families and communities safe. Sign up to walk or join the team at madwashington.com. Move with MAD, September 13th on the UW campus. Register today.
Bathfitter just hit a big milestone, 42,000 installations in Western Washington. Celebrate with payments as low as $125 a month. A beautiful bath installed in one day, no mess, and a lifetime warranty. Call Bathfitter or visit bathfitternw.com today.
Cold is leaking and rats are moving and mold is creeping and water seeping in. It's hard to be a homeowner, we know.
Without American Crawl Space and Pest Services, it is hard to be a homeowner. Dave Ross here. American Crawl are the heroes to call for insulation and pest issues because in addition to their great reviews and decades of experience, they also give out the most PSE insulation rebates of any insulation company in the state.
American Crawl, the heroes you call.
Get your free inspection at AmericanCrawl.com.
Welcome back to the show. I saw this story. Anytime I see a story that says Costco, just whenever I see the words Costco, I go, oh.
Clickbait for
you?
you?
Oh, big time. Yeah, big time. So listen to this. Costco has this new executive entry, early entry time, which I must say, if you have the means, I highly recommend it.
It is so choice.
It is so choice. I have actually used this one time. I used it before work. They had a deal on shirts that I really like. So I was like, all right, I'm going to head in there and get a bunch of these shirts. I was one of 15 people in the entire warehouse.
You felt special.
I did feel special. Have you ever used this? Do you have an executive membership?
I am an executive member, but I've never used the hours designated for executive. And I imagine the main draw is just you avoid the lines at checkout. Because it's not like they sell out of items during the day, or do they? I could be wrong.
No, they do at times. I mean, when I am looking for stuff in my size, they can sell out. And so, so you want to get in early if you can. And it's also nice to not have to wait in line. But they do have that like fast shop area now where you can do self-checkout. Do you ever use the self-checkout?
I've never used the self-checkout. I have big items, big bulk items. Okay. I don't want to scan those things.
I will use it if I have to. I don't like to use it because, again, you're right. It's a pain to have to scan all that stuff. And I like them boxing it up for me. And you'd have to do that yourself if you self-checkout.
Oh, you're a box guy every time? Sir, do you need the box?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, don't forgo the box.
Yeah, you got to have the box.
But then sometimes I have to look for it and I feel a little guilty. Like, oh,
why? That's the job.
I made Mr. Joe, whoever, walk 4 checkout lines down to get a box.
I love the people in Costco. They all dress great because they all dress exactly like me.
Impeccable name tags.
We all buy our clothes at Costco.
Yeah, right.
And I love it. All right, so here's the controversy.
The deets.
Apparently, people are upset that they have this early entry thing for executive members. Apparently, people did not get the memo that it was it was a very exclusive club after all. But there's a bunch of I think there's 2 lower tiers or 1 lower tier membership. That's the Gold Star membership, which is $65 a year. Heck of a deal. And then the executive membership, which is $130 per year. So if you're an executive, a perk is, again, you get these early entry days every day it's open. You can get it in between 9 and 10.
9 a.m. on weekdays and Sundays, 9:30 on Saturdays.
There you go, an hour early. And if you don't have executive membership, then you just got to wait till the normal time. So nothing has been taken away from you. You're just not getting the extra thing. And they have had to have a grace period because they were having a bunch of Gold Star people show up. Gold Star members were showing up not knowing or not caring that this was just for executive members. Now, do you think Costco's in kind of a weird spot? Because they did create where there was no tension before. They have now created this area of tension where they're kind of creating a little bit of a class system where Costco is letting people in early because you're willing to pay. And it's not like a ton more. $65 a year to $130 a year is not a massive amount of money.
Well, I was a low-level entry member for like 20 years.
Probably until you had a family.
I think my Costco card still has my picture on it from like 2004 when I was in college, right? A young whippersnapper. So I've been a long-time faithful Costco customer. Just a few years ago, I was persuaded to upgrade to the executive membership. And I have to tell you, Jake, I still don't even know what the main selling point was for me, other than a Costco employee just kind of convincing me there and persuading me in the moment that was something I needed to do. I know we get like a check back at the end of the year for like some of the money we spent.
You get a rebate.
And I think they're just trying to increase some of the perks for ponying up and spending a little extra for the year because in many ways they're almost indistinguishable memberships.
Well, yeah, if you don't know what you're talking about.
Hard to explain a lot of the intricacies of the differences between the $65 and the $130. Maybe there's the Costco faithful out there that could school me on that a little bit.
I'll school you right now.
I haven't felt it.
You just said it.
Yeah, the rebate, but
Laura,
the rebate makes up for like what $70 of the increase of cost anyway.
Hold on. Laura, do you get a rebate?
I don't get a rebate.
Okay, no. Bingo. There you go. It pays for itself every single time.
And it pays for part. Well, you must spend a lot at Costco.
I spend a lot at Costco. Absolutely. I'm there 5 times a week.
Okay, so then with this going back to privileging executive members, do you think you would accommodate your schedule to go there at 9 a.m. to beat the crowds? Is it that desirable? Is it that big of an incentive to change the way you interact with Costco?
Have you ever been to Disneyland?
Many times,
Have you been to Club 33?
Club 33?
Do you know of Club 33?
I thought we're not supposed to speak about Club 33.
Okay, you do know it.
Is that like Walt's special club or something? You can see his bedroom?
No, Club 33 is a special restaurant, invite only, in Disneyland, where if you are part of, there's a lot of corporate sponsorships.
Oh, yeah, Bohemian Grove. Yeah, of course.
You can go in. It's the only place in the park. It's the only place in the park that serves alcohol. There's a bar. There's cool stuff in Disneyland.
Now, hold on, Jake. You can drink a beer at the restaurant at Pirates of the Caribbean because I did it last time, but they limit you to 1 beer.
Okay.
And Club 33, do you get to have a couple more?
Club 33, you can enjoy a normal restaurant experience.
Here we go.
But it's an exclusive thing.
Yes.
And it's not for everybody, but it is for some, and some people like that. and it's a little extra, and that's a nice thing. They're not going to shut Club 33 down just because some people are complaining about it.
I just
can't get in. They're whining about it. You have these people whining about not being able to get in 9 a.m. Spend an extra $70. You're going to make the money back.
I'm not going to change my schedule to go right when Costco opens now to take full advantage of this perk for executive members.
Well, you should.
I just go to Costco every time we run out of TP. I don't care what time of day it is. If we're out of TP, it's time to make the Costco trip.
Buying
again.
it anywhere else is just like flushing it down the toilet. It's just a waste of money.
Well played.
Yeah. All right, we got a lot more coming up. We have, oh boy, this is not a good ranking. Seattle ranks something nationally. It's not great. It's really not great. We'll tell you about it next. Stick around.
KIRO News Radio is right there with you.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
On your smart speaker before you head out the door.
We continue to be in recovery mode on northbound I-5.
Watch live on YouTube or the KIRO News Radio app.
Newfangled idea of having to see the people while they're talking.
The office, the gym, wherever you are.
Get on the YouTube channel. The whole gang's there.
KIRO News Radio. 97.3 FM, powered by MyNorthwest.com.
An illegal alien from Guatemala charged with raping a child in Massachusetts. An MS-13 gang member from El Salvador accused of murdering a Texas man. A Venezuelan charged with filming and selling child pornography in Michigan. These are just some of the heinous migrant criminals caught because of President Donald J. Trump's leadership. I'm Kristi Noem, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security. Under President Trump, attempted illegal border crossings are at the lowest levels ever recorded, and over 100,000 illegal aliens have been arrested. If you are here illegally, you're next. You will be fined nearly $1,000 a day, imprisoned, and deported. You will never return. But if you register using our CBP Home app and leave now, you could be allowed to return legally. Do what's right. Leave now. Under President Trump, America's laws, border, and families will be protected.
Sponsored by the United States Department of Homeland Security.
Did you know that nearly half the homes in Western Washington are not properly insulated or not insulated at all? That may be the reason why your home is way too hot in the summer and way too cold in the winter. It may also be the reason that your energy bills are sky high. Right now, Insulation Northwest is offering a free inspection of your home's insulation. This is a $199 value and it's absolutely free, no obligation. Just call today and Insulation Northwest will arrange a time that works with your schedule. We'll perform a thorough exam of your home's insulation and give you the advice you need to start saving thousands. Everyone who calls today will also receive a free infrared screening of your home using the latest technology. This will help reveal any hidden flaws in your home's protective energy blanket. What do you have to lose? It only takes about an hour and it's absolutely free. Call Insulation Northwest today, the real insulation company.
InsulationNorthwest.com. By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Real Success. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at OurRealSuccess.com.
Do you want to learn how to make money flipping houses and acquiring rental properties right here in Seattle without using your own money? You'll learn to flip houses and secure rental properties in your spare time to get on track towards real wealth building. We're offering a handful of motivated individuals the opportunity to attend our workshop right here in Seattle for free. That's right, we'll give you 2 free tickets when you text FREE to 64,000. Seattle is the perfect market to flip houses and build rental income. Don't miss this opportunity. Come to a complimentary live 2-hour workshop this week right here in Seattle and learn how to start making money flipping homes and building long-term wealth with rental properties. To get 2 free tickets, text FREE to 64,000. Text in the next 10 minutes, and registrants will also receive a free copy of our Funding for Deals guide. Text FREE to 64,000 for 2 complimentary tickets. Text FREE to 64,000.
Ron is a musician.
Guitar is my love, and the thought of losing that ability was devastating.
You see, Ron was suffering from osteoarthritis.
I was starting to have pain, especially in my right thumb. I had gone to an orthopedic specialist, and they were coming up with options like fusing the joints together.
That's when Ron decided to see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy.
The results are astounding. I couldn't have imagined it working as effectively as it has.
You'd recommend this to other people?
Oh, wholeheartedly. I am quite the fan of the stem cell therapy.
So, whether it's a shoulder, hip, knee, or even your thumb, before you choose surgery, consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Schedule your consultation at drmarkwagnermd.com.
I'm singing from rooftops. Go see Dr. Wagner.
Looking to hire? ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio. KIRO FM and HD1. Tacoma, Seattle. Northwest News.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Cammie McCormick. President Trump says he's standing by his threats to send federal forces to Chicago to fight crime. Linda Kenyon reports.
Well, we're going in. I didn't say when. We're going in.
President Trump speaking in the Oval Office saying crime in Chicago is out of control and sending in the National Guard is the only sensible course of action.
If the governor of Illinois would call me up, I would love to do it. Now, we're going to do it anyway. We have the right to do it because I have an obligation to protect this country.
Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is challenging that assertion, posting, quote, "There is no emergency in the city of Chicago to send troops in." Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
Trump said he's ready to do the same in Baltimore. His remarks came after a federal judge ruled his deployment of troops to Los Angeles was illegal. Legal analyst Lori Levinson.
It's quite likely that this decision will go on to a higher court, initially the Ninth Circuit, and perhaps even the Supreme Court, because this has become an issue throughout the country. How much power does the president have to call out the National Guard, especially when states and cities don't want it?
Trump was asked about a summit in China with the leaders of Russia and North Korea and whether he's concerned about that gathering.
China needs us, and I have a very good relationship with President Xi, as you know. But China needs us much more than we need them.
CBS's Ramy Inocencio.
Several of these leaders are called strongmen, dictators. For example, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un just arrived in Beijing in his favorite, his armored train. You can think of it like Air Force One, but on rails. That is how he likes to travel for fear of being shot out of the sky. We've also got Iran's president, but along with Xi and Putin, this quartet is coming to be known, at least in some critical circles, as the axis of upheaval, sort of a play on the axis of evil.
In eastern Afghanistan, the search continues for victims of Sunday's massive earthquake. At the UN, spokesman Stefan Dujarric.
Preliminary reports from the de facto authorities now indicate at least 1,400 people have been killed and more than 3,100 injured. Casualty figures are expected to rise further as search and rescue teams reach affected areas.
And a landslide destroyed an entire village in Sudan, central Darfur, killing as many as 1,000 people. Luca Renda is a UN representative there.
It's very difficult to access these areas, actually impossible to access Al-Fashir. And it is imperative that we are allowed to reach these people in need.
On Wall Street today, stocks finished lower. The Dow Jones Industrial's off 249 points. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
A local sheriff under fire over a trans tweet. The story coming up, but first, Nate Connors is at a very busy KIRO News Radio traffic desk.
KIRO News Radio Traffic Alert.
I am. Heather Home Comfort Alliance has our alert here. It's South 5 at State Route 516 there in Des Moines. A car fire is blocking 4 right lanes. That leaves just the HOV lane open for all drivers. Both directions jam up approaching the scene. Seattle to Federal Way, 25 minutes. Federal Way to Seattle's at a half hour. In Renton, we're monitoring another big backup. It's North 405 and Northeast 44th. Our long-term disabled vehicle still blocking the right lane. A tow just finally arrived on scene. You're backed up to the Maple Valley Highway. Renton to Bellevue, you're back up to a 45-minute commute. And then northbound 99 here in Seattle at Ward Street, right in front of Meta headquarters. Road work blocks you 2 left lanes, leaving 1 lane open. You're backed up into the downtown tunnel. And if you're heading over towards Snoqualmie Pass, eastbound 90, a 7-mile bumper-to-bumper as you head up the hill to the summit due to road work. Save 50 to 75% by combining tax credits, rebates, and incentives on a new heat pump from Home Comfort Alliance. Visit homecomfortalliance.com. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Heather Bosch. Harris County Sheriff Keith Swank is under fire for a social media post. He asked followers on X whether it's time to ban transgender people from owning guns, just days after a school shooting in Minnesota where the shooter was reportedly trans. He tells Seattle Red's Jason Rantz.
It's a social experiment. The people on the left want to have gun control, so I'm going to say, what do you think about this? Is it mental health? Should they qualify for gun control? Should we confiscate guns from people that way? And just see what they're going to say about it.
When KIRO News Radio asked about his social media policy, Swank replied online, "I am the sheriff and I can say whatever I want," unquote. One person is in custody after a shooting overnight in Seattle's First Hill neighborhood. Police tell the Seattle Times a 28-year-old was taken to a hospital in serious condition. No word on what led up to the gunfire. One person was shot in the leg on Aurora Avenue in North Seattle yesterday. Police found blood and multiple bullet casings at the scene. The victim turned up later after he crashed his car on the ramp to the ER at Harborview Medical Center. The woman who was killed when a car crashed into a Kirkland grocery outlet has been identified now as Sheila Stanton. That's what her church tells KIRO 7 TV. Several people were injured in the crash that stunned shoppers on Sunday.
It makes you realize any given moment, right? Things like that can happen, but certainly don't expect it.
Police say this may be just a tragic accident involving an elderly driver, but they are running blood tests to see if drugs or alcohol were involved. The school year begins tomorrow for Seattle students at a district dealing with an $80 million budget shortfall. Interim Superintendent Fred Podesta says they may have to cut buses and bus routes and add a third bell, or
we might have to have larger class sizes. School schedule is important, but that's one of those things we think we can do.
The district says their focus this year will be on early education, middle school math, and access to higher education for graduates. Western Washington is in for another warm-up. KIRO News Radio meteorologist Ted Beener.
We're going to warm up into the upper 70s, maybe the mid-80s. Some places over in the Cascade foothills might be knocking at the door of 90 degrees for Wednesday and Thursday.
He expects highs to drop back into the 70s over the weekend, and we might even see some light showers. As for today, this weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Expect partly sunny skies with highs in the mid-70s. It's 69 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with the KIRO News Radio App. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News. It's the all-new Jake and Spike Show on KIRO News Radio.
Welcome back to the show. 1 hour down, 2 hours to go. Lots of stuff to get to and talk about. We have some crime stuff to get to. There is a local guy who just had another arrest, which I can't even. We'll tell you about it in just a minute. I can't even fathom how somebody can get arrested this many times. It just makes zero sense to me. So hopefully Greg Tomlin, who's in for Spike O'Neill, can explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old. But we will get to that in just a moment. There's a story on mynorthwest.com right now that you should check out. Seattle. Did you see the story, Greg? Seattle ranks 4th worst in the nation for total crime.
Hooray.
That's not fun.
No,
Oh,
That's not good at all.
That's bad. You don't want to be at the top of that list. And our neighbor to the south is number 2 on that list. We rank 4th out of the 30 biggest cities in America.
Triple national
for crime.
average.
But yeah, Portland and Seattle, way to go.
I guess congratulations are in order. It's always nice
Of some sort.
It's always nice to be recognized, I guess.
Any press is good press. Maybe not in this case.
Let me play you a clip. We had this on Friday. Was this just Friday? What was 8/28? No, Thursday. I'm sorry, I wasn't in on Friday. So Thursday. This was Mayor Bruce Harrell, who was responding to an idea that was floated around about President Trump possibly sending National Guards troops into various states. Chicago was on that list. Who had a very violent weekend. They had 54 shootings and 7 people killed. So that's a tough weekend for Chicago, but it's not uncommon for there. They were on the list of potential places where Trump has said, hey, it'd be great if these mayors and governors would request our help so we could send people in to help. Seattle was another list, another name that popped up on that list. And so Mayor Bruce Harrell, who's running for re-election, was responding to that idea. And he had this to say about Seattle. And I want to let him speak for himself, and then we can talk about if that is represented in what we're seeing now in the crime ranking, because this clip of him doesn't make any sense. Listen to this.
The people who sign up to be a National Guard, I don't think they anticipated being weaponized against a city as great as Seattle, where we have low crime rates in all categories, and we are not a lawless, chaotic city. We are a great city on a right trajectory, and so there's certainly no need, factually or legally, to use this kind of tactic by the federal government.
I mean, my personal feeling is that they should not be sending federal troops into cities, and although it would be great if we had a lot of extra law enforcement in Seattle, that has been kind of tough for them to make up some of the numbers of the people who decided to move on to other. There was a lot of folks. I had friends who were Seattle police officers who just went to other police jurisdictions. Like a bunch of people moved up north, a bunch of people went east, and Seattle became a very tough place to hire people, which is why I think they still have. I could be wrong about this, but I think they still have like a $50,000 signing bonus if you have law enforcement experience at a certain level and you are willing to come and work in Seattle, then that's a lot of money.
If that number is accurate, I mean, that just speaks to how undesirable
Can you imagine?
the reputation is of coming here to work. Like, we're pulling out all the stops.
All the stops. So when Harold talks about that, and then Seattle ranks 4th in the nation for crime, total crime ranking, they said 2024, 2,119 incidents per 100,000 residents. Seattle was ranked 4th out of the 30 largest American cities for total crime. Seattle's total crime rate per 100,000 residents, total crime rate was 5,782. Let's see, total crime in comparison to the national average was 172.9% higher. That's a lot. 172.9% higher than the national average.
Yeah, and you're right to bring up the national angle to this story, as I see that Governor J.B. Pritzker of Illinois is talking right now about Trump wanting to send troops to Chicago. So it's not just Seattle that is going through, facing such high crime statistics here. And the federal government involvement with this issue is going to be something that I think partly defines Trump 2.0. Furthermore, I think it's kind of a winning issue for him. Now, District of Columbia and sort of taking over the police force there, I think that's a unique situation there with the nation's capital. Yeah. It's not a state. An argument can be made that the executive branch is within its rights to, get a firmer grip on things going on there. Now, in terms of extending those same kind of policies to Chicago and Seattle, does it pass constitutional muster? Will it pass state, local officials disagreeing with Trump on this? That remains to be seen. Yet the public interpretation of this, I think, is always going to be on the side of the party that wants to
make things
be
safe.
more strict on the bad guys and be more punitive towards the bad guys and keep the public safe. I mean, this is politics. I even saw Joe Scarborough on MSNBC this morning saying the same thing in as many words because crime is out of hand in so many of these cities, and local officials aren't getting a grip on it.
I think wasn't his message to Pritzker like, hey, Pritzker's basically been out there on a little bit of a campaign tour. Is he running in 2028? He must be.
Could be.
Okay. His message to Pritzker was, why don't you do what people don't expect you to do? And instead of like battling Trump, why don't you call in the guys and say, hey, you know what? Let's work together, because then you do kind of take the wind out of Trump's sails that these people are choosing politics over keeping neighborhoods safe. If he were to just say, hey, you know what? Send in some help until we get things at a better place, then it kind of it evens the conversation up. But right now, you're right. It's all kind of in the camp of Trump wants to keep
people safe. Yes.
And Pritzker said, 54 people shot and 7 people killed over a weekend is not good.
Well, and because civic illiteracy is so rampant, I don't think people fully understand, federalism and how far Trump's grasp can go into each individual state and how they handle things like law enforcement. The reason I think that is a tough sell that Scarborough was making to Pritzker if
he's not gonna do
Democrat governors, although I like the notion, right? I'm all about let's work together left and right. That's one of my ethos, right? But it's easier said than done. I think if Democrat governors and mayors say, okay, Trump will work with you a little bit, in some way implicit in that working together is a notion of an acquiescing to Trump, or saying, oh, you actually are right. And then it's sort of an admission of guilt, too, that it's a failure
you're giving him
on leadership's part.
Right. Yeah, I get it.
So, I don't know. That's a tough sell.
Let me ask you this then. Let's switch locally here to crime. Did you see the story? There was a guy who got pulled over the weekend. Listen to this. I'm going to read you how he was arrested, and then we'll give you the details on how many times. What arrest this makes this guy. I'll just tell you this. His arrests are old enough, or are so many that they could drink. That's how many arrests he has, if that makes sense. It's not a great joke. Just after midnight, this is from KIRO News Story. Just after midnight Saturday morning, Lacey police received a call about a person breaking into a car. The 911 caller said that somebody had smashed the window out of a BMW SUV. A Lacey police officer tried to stop the BMW, but it sped off at a high rate of speed. Minutes later, Thurston County Sheriff Derek Sanders spotted the BMW SUV on College Street in Lacey. He estimated the car was traveling 90 in a 35, so that's pretty easy to spot. He chased the driver onto I-5 at speeds of 135 miles per hour, yikes, until the driver started traveling the wrong way on the freeway. Police backed off as Sanders requested help from air support. 2 more times, deputies chased the car, and at one point, the driver tried to spray the units with a fire extinguisher. I don't even know how you're doing that at that speed. I mean, crazy. I'm sure he's not doing that at 135, but still. The State Patrol airplane, this is all from KIRO. The State Patrol's airplane Smokey got overhead of the chase and was able to follow the car to Federal Way, where the suspect rammed a patrol car and then ran off. Troopers tackled the suspect and arrested him. So this suspect that we're talking about here is a 14-time convicted felon, and this is his 29th time being in jail.
Just short of the 30 strikes you're out rule.
Yeah, just sort of it. And the dirty 30, that's really where they start to take care of people and to make sure they don't get back out on the streets. Why was this guy still on the street?
Yeah, in January, court records showed that the man was sentenced to 364 days in jail for a felony DUI case, but the jail term was suspended, and he was released on supervision. Well, his supervisor needs to be fired, and this guy needs to go to jail for a very long time here. This is an all too common tale around this region, Jake, here, and it's one of the frustrating parts of being in the news and commentary business is when you bring to light stories like this that we think are of public interest and concern, and the common themes keep showing up over and over again, and yet it seems like no action is being taken on these chronic criminals that just go out time and time again and commit these offenses with impunity.
He's in jail for a felony DUI, like you said, in January. He's out on supervision. Again, it doesn't sound like he's being supervised. And according to Thurston County Sheriff Derek Sanders, he said the suspect had methamphetamine and fentanyl with him when he was arrested. Now, this guy's going 135 miles an hour. He's got 2 deadly drugs with him. Who knows if they were in his system. And he has prior convictions for misdemeanor convictions. He has several DUIs, according to the story. 14-time convicted felon. Thank God he didn't kill anybody. You're going 135 miles an hour, and you go down I-5 the wrong way. Thank God nobody died. We hear stories like that all the time, and it happens. Everybody who's listening right now has read a story about somebody driving the wrong way. Usually it's because they're impaired. Wrong way on some road, and the saddest case imaginable happens. It's usually some family driving or somebody who's, through no fault of their own, they're driving the right way. Then you have some crazy person driving down the road the wrong direction, and they kill someone. It's never the person who's driving the wrong way that dies. It's always the other person, it seems. But in this case, you have this guy arrested. He's in jail 29 different times, 14 times convicted felon. Why is he out?
So that is the $64,000 question or whatever, and we need to get to root causes of this. And here's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah.
In very progressive Pacific Northwest, our system operates under the assumption that criminals, large in part, are driven to a life of crime by outside forces and have little to no agency of their own, and it produces this atmosphere of criminal activity
if we just
that's
give
carried out with
chance.
impunity. Let me localize this a little bit in Seattle, okay? In 2022, I believe, we learned that something like 120 criminals were responsible for nearly 2,500 crimes in Seattle over a 5-year period.
Jeez.
Okay, that's remarkable. Under Pete Holmes, as city attorney, 50% of crimes committed weren't prosecuted after the criminal was arrested. I think that percentage has increased a little bit under Ann Davison here, the city attorney. If Erica Evans unseats her in November, I think there's a real possibility that number goes down again. So here's a quote that I dug up from Erica Evans once upon a time. She says that, quote, just locking folks up without any resources or treatment or doing a holistic approach to addressing underlying problems, that's not how you solve it. There's a smart approach to addressing, quote, folks that we know are having underlying issues.
What does that even mean?
So exactly.
What does that mean?
And it's with treatment and services, and that addresses the underlying root cause. Well, that guiding principle has failed, okay? Like we pointed out, this one guy who's been arrested 29 times, his jail term was suspended. I assume he was given that rehabilitation plan. Now, if you just had the opportunities to get right, we would get you on the right path. And unfortunately, that's just not how human nature works. If you don't want help, you're not going to get it. Okay? But again, if you operate under this assumption that people are basically good, but it's lack of opportunities or poverty or the system and the heavy hand that has come down on them that has led them to a life of crime, you're just going to keep making this problem worse and worse and worse. But unfortunately, that's where the city of Seattle and surrounding regions kind of are in how they interpret things, like cases like this.
What's so crazy to me is, again, so lucky that this guy didn't kill someone, but who's responsible? Like, let's say he had killed somebody. He's going 135 miles an hour. It's shocking that nobody was injured in that case. Who would have been responsible? Him or the people who let him out? Again, you're in jail 29 times, 14 felony convictions.
Right.
14 convicted felonies, felon, 14 different times. And they let him out. If he were to kill somebody, odds are he's going to get out again, right?
At that point in your criminal career, you've stated it pretty unequivocally. You don't want help.
Like,
okay?
even if
you're committed to this life of crime.
Even if that Seattle City Attorney candidate is right, and it's all about circumstance, and this poor guy didn't have the opportunities. Clearly, he's shown that he has chosen the path of darkness, and he's doing bad things, and he keeps doing it over and over and over again. I don't understand. Like, I don't even know how you get arrested 29 times. That's crazy. To get arrested 29 times. That's a lot. You got to be doing a lot of bad things. And just think, that's just 29 times that they caught him. Think of all the times that he was doing stuff.
Kidding.
Think of all the times that somebody might be driving drunk, or if this guy has a meth and fentanyl problem, like it sounds like he might, according to this story. Think of all the times that he's driving, possibly impaired, and he's not caught.
Probably exponentially higher.
Don't they say the number is like the rule of 10? Like if you are a person who gets caught for drunk driving, you've probably driven drunk at least 10 times before you're caught that one time.
Yeah.
So, good Lord, lock these people up. When they do bad things, lock them up.
It doesn't seem like rocket science to two guys like us, Jake. But again,
we're rocket scientists.
I think that notion is just anathema to the guiding principles of how progressives in this region interpret this issue. I just think there's a fundamental disagreement there, and I don't know how you ever bridge that gap in understanding of what causes this. We disagree on root causes. So if your starting point is that, I don't know if there's ever gonna coming across and agreeing.
It also is not surprising to me that Seattle ranks so highly with crime. Now, this happened down in, where was this at? Where was this case here?
This was in Auburn.
This was in Auburn, yeah. Crazy, crazy, crazy. All right, we have a lot more coming up, which we will get to. When we come back, this is a really interesting story, and you guys should all go check it out right now. Jason Rantz is going to join us when we come back. Do you remember that story about Denny Blaine Park? I'll give you a little setup before we take a quick break here. Denny Blaine Park is a nude park. It's legal to be nude in the city of Seattle, I guess. I was unaware of this, but you can be nude in Seattle, unfortunately. And it's always the unfortunate cases that want to be nude. I don't know why that is. But they want to be nude, and they're at this park. And one of the things that happens sometimes when people are nude is there was some, what's the family-friendly version of this? There was some self-pleasuring that was happening at these parks and pleasuring of others. And so neighbors in this area were like, listen, this is awful. It's in full view of people. It's got to stop. We got to figure it out. So a local judge said, yes, City of Seattle, you guys need to figure this problem out. So the city of Seattle stepped in and said, I've got it. Let's put up a fence with a sheet on it. And if we put up a fence with a sheet on it, then it'll block the people who are doing those bad things. And suddenly, magically, nobody has a problem. Now, that has not fixed the problem, obviously. And so there were some folks over the weekend who decided to demonstrate in an interesting way. Jason Rance is going to join us next and tell us about that. I have made a modest proposal on how to fix this problem. It's on my X account. You can go check it out right now. I added a picture. Don't worry, it's family friendly. I do think it will fix the problem. So go to my X page at Jake Skorheim. Check it out. Jason Rance is going to join us next with this story. It can only happen in Seattle. We'll tell you about it. Stick around.
This hour is brought to you by Insulation Northwest.
Man wide open, touchdown Seahawks!
Celebrating 50 years of Seahawks football with the voice of the Seahawks, Steve Rabel.
Number 71, Walter Jones, left tackle. The anchor to the left side of the offensive line for the Seahawks that went to the Super Bowl. One of the best players in franchise history.
Since the beginning, KIRO is where Seattle and the Pacific Northwest have heard the Seahawks play. Here's to the next 50 years.
Some things can steal your sunshine.
Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
This is TV's Dr. Travis Stork for Eggland's Best. Eggs are a staple in our diets, and there's only one egg with more delicious farm-fresh taste, plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best, with more vitamins, including 6 times more vitamin D and 10 times more vitamin E, plus 25% less saturated fat than ordinary eggs. Available in so many delicious varieties: classic, cage-free, organic, free-range, and pasture-raised. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Upgrade your home comfort and save 20% during the Bob's Heating preseason furnace sale. With great savings plus free financing on heat pumps, water heaters, generators, and more, our award-winning team has what you need to stay cozy this chilly season at a cost you're comfortable with. Voted best in the Pacific Northwest, we're honored to be your dedicated home comfort company since 1957. Call Bob's and save today.
Bob's Heating and Air Conditioning. Call Bob.
Change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, change is all around us. Songs are rewritten. Classics are remixed. Bands and artists come and go. Even our taste in music changes. Here at Xfinity, we know there's still good in keeping some things the same. That's why we want to do our part with a 5-year price guarantee on our internet. It means no matter what changes, you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with our best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Surprised? Life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at Xfinity.com/deals. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024.
An illegal alien from Guatemala charged with raping a child in Massachusetts. An MS-13 gang member from El Salvador accused of murdering a Texas man. A Venezuelan charged with filming and selling child pornography in Michigan. These are just some of the heinous migrant criminals caught because of President Donald J. Trump's leadership. I'm Kristi Noem, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security. Under President Trump, attempted illegal border crossings are at the lowest levels ever recorded, and over 100,000 illegal aliens have been arrested. If you are here illegally, you're next. You will be fined nearly $1,000 a day, imprisoned, and deported. You will never return. But if you register using our CBP Home app and leave now, you could be allowed to return legally. Do what's right. Leave now. Under President Trump, America's laws, border, and families will be protected.
Sponsored by the United States Department of Homeland Security.
Most roofers around here give you one option. 2 if you're lucky. Asphalt shingles and maybe metal.
That's like going to a restaurant and the only thing on the menu is salad. Sure, there are a few kinds, but they're all pretty much the same, and none of them will keep you satisfied for long. I'm Jim Singletary, Chief Roof Nerd at RoofSmart, and we serve up real choices. Yeah, we do asphalt shingles, sure, but what about something more substantial, like EuroShield rubber tiles that last a lifetime? Or a beautiful, durable metal roof that can handle Seattle's weather like a champ. We even install cedar shake, stone, copper, and walkable rooftop decks. Most roofers stick to what's easy. At RoofSmart, we offer what's best for you. Now, those are what we call options. For anything is possible roofing, call RoofSmart at 206-487-4877 or visit GetRoofSmart.com today. That's 206-487-4877 or online at GetRoofSmart.com.
Help create a future with no more drunk driving victims. Join Molly Shen and the Davis Law Group for Move with MAD, September 13th at Red Square, Central Plaza on the UW campus. Move with MAD raises awareness and funds to help end drunk driving and prevent underage drinking. Every step taken and every dollar raised can help keep our families and communities safe. Sign up to walk or join the team at madwashington.com. Move with MAD, September 13th on the UW campus. Register today.
With over 20 new home communities throughout the Puget Sound area, D.R. Horton has the right home for you. Learn more at drhorton.com. That's drhorton.com. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granillo. President Trump today confirms a federal show of force is coming to Chicago.
Well, we're going in. I didn't say when. We're going in.
President says they are working on plans to deploy National Guard members and immigration agents to that city. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker expects them to arrive in the coming days with plans, he says, to target Latino communities.
You're likely to see videos of them hauling away mothers and fathers, traveling to work or picking up their kids from school. Sometimes they will detain, handcuff, and haul away children.
Governor Pritzker says this is all just a big show. President Trump says it's about making Chicago safer. Just last week, the White House border czar Tom Homan said Seattle and Portland would also be targeted for an immigration crackdown. No timeline was given there. Now to the closing bell report. Stocks fell today following a federal ruling on tariffs. An appeals court said President Trump went too far by declaring a national emergency to justify those import taxes. Chief Marketing Strategist Michael Farr says the White House is appealing that ruling.
There could be a court challenge to President Trump's tariffs and that many of the revenues collected would have to be returned. That was unwelcome news for markets this morning that really do hate uncertainty.
And at the close, the Dow lost 249 points, S&P down 45, NASDAQ off 176. Other business news today, Costco's new shopping hours for executive members are now in full effect as of this week. They can shop an hour earlier on weekdays and Sundays, 9 to 10 a.m. and 9 to 9:30 on Saturdays. An executive membership will run you $130 a year. The company says those members make up nearly 75% of its sales. Now to the real-time traffic desk at 1:32. Here's Nate Collins.
Thanks, Aaron. Lake Washington Windows and Doors has our update. Good news in Des Moines. All lanes are back open South 5 at State Route 516. The scene of an earlier car fire. That is still on your right shoulder, and you're backed up bumper to 178th. Seattle to Federal A right now is at 45 minutes, but this will quickly start to thin out for you. In Renton, we cleared that stall finally northbound 405 and Northeast 44th. It was there for almost 90 minutes, and it had a huge backup. The backup is quickly clearing out, starting at the north end at Northeast 44th, but still pretty heavy from South Center through the Renton S-curves. Renton to Bellevue's down to 35 minutes. Here in Seattle, northbound 99 at Ward Street right near Meta headquarters. Roadwork blocks your two left lanes. That leaves one lane open, and you're backed up to Mercer. North 5 is heavy from the north end of Boeing Field in the downtown. South 5 slows from Lake City Way in the downtown. Linwood to Seattle, 20 minutes. Lake Washington Windows Autumn Savings Event is on now. Save $500 per window, $1,000 per door, plus 12 months, same as cash financing. Details at lakewashingtonwindows.com. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
Forecast now brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. It'll be a calm week for the most part. Temperatures here in the lowlands in the mid to upper 70s. A heat advisory for the foothills, very borderline there. Just some temperatures reaching the 90s in places like North Bend, potentially. Right now, 70 in Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Welcome back to the show. All right, lots of fun stuff to talk about. This one is fun if you like to be nude in public in a park. So it's not super fun. I'm not a nudity person. I mean, I am at certain times in my own home, but I'm not a nude person, like when I shower and other stuff. But I'm not a nude in the park person, which apparently is legal in Seattle. I just found that out recently. I didn't know that. But there's a park called Denny Blaine Park, and they have a problem with nudity because it is also accompanied by extracurricular activities.
I'll break out the thesaurus for this one. Let's say onanism, ogling, and copulation.
Sure. All good. I'll break out my dictionary and find out what all those mean.
It's a family-friendly show. We're just keeping it real.
Jason Rantz from Seattle Red 770, the Jason Rantz Show, joins us now to tell us about this. Jason, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Another segment about Perv Park.
Okay, so tell us, this is Denny Blaine Park. Is that what people call it? They call it Perv Park?
That's what I called it on Fox, and then it exploded, and now people are using that. And it's my proudest accomplishment.
Good job. It's alliterative. People like it.
Yeah.
Tell me about Perv Park. What's happening over the weekend, or what happened over the weekend?
So for the folks who just need a quick rundown, for years, a lot of people have showed up to this particular park and have engaged in public acts of sex and self-love. And the neighbors are like, well, we would prefer not to have us view this every single day. We've got kids who don't need to see this. And so they eventually took the city to court, arguing they did nothing to actually fix this, even though they've known about the issue. A judge agreed that what was going on is untenable, and so they said you have 14 days to come up with an abatement plan to stop the public sex. The city of Seattle instead decided to put up a fence, which does literally nothing
with
to
a sheet
stop.
on it.
Yeah, it's a one of those mesh tarps that from far away you can still even see through it. It's a little bit blurred, I guess. And they did this saying, well, we're going to create because this is known as a nude beach or a nude park above the sort of the grassy area where the fence is. Above the fence, you can wear clothes. Below it, blocked off by this fence, you can't. And so over the weekend, yesterday, there was a protest, a sit-in, that was nude, in the grassy area by folks who said, we're going to be nude wherever it is we want to be.
Wait a minute. But that's in the non-nude section?
They went, I know, the fence didn't do anything to even stop the nudity.
What about the new signage that they put up, Jason?
Could you believe they ignored the signage?
But did they move the fence to make the nude section, the non-nude section, not part of the nude section? I don't understand how they were able to achieve this.
It's called civil nude disobedience.
So what was the city's response? I assume that they swooped in because this is a non-nude area.
As far as I can tell, they haven't had any response whatsoever.
The city actually just went over there and took their pants off?
Yeah, they went down. They said, well, we're one of you. And they got nude and sagged along. There's been no response. It's funny because this just shows you, the last time we talked about this, we had pointed out how dumb of an idea and transparent it was to put up literally this fence. Because no one, the families and neighbors were not complaining about the nudity. Mm-hmm. Sure, they probably didn't want to see the nudity because people who get nude at these beaches are never the ones you want to actually see nude at these beaches.
100.
They were always talking about the lewd acts, of which this did nothing. So not only did it not stop the lewd acts, it didn't even stop the nudity that they said they put up this fence to prevent.
You could make a pretty good argument, actually, that these little privacy screens that they put up kind of encourage more lewd activity, because now they don't even have to worry about being seen by anybody. You just go behind one of these. They're like, you said they're like kind of semi-transparent.
You can still kind of see through them if you're really close. It's
Is it just like a silhouette? You would just see somebody's silhouette?
A little bit more, but closer to that than not. And we've got photos, by the way, at seattlered.com if you want to see what the actual fence looks like. I did not. So I'm up there getting some closer shots of the fence with part of the nude beach behind.
Were you mashing your eyes shut as you're randomly taking pictures?
No, well, first I had to disrobe, and I went down, and in the background I realized there's a naked dude right there looking right at me. So I had to quickly readjust my camera.
He's just like trying to make eye contact. It's very uncomfortable.
Okay, so
I was trying to make eye
anyone
contact.
with any degree of common sense operating in their faculties here, you could see that these mitigating measures that have been taken up to this point will have a negligible effect on the illegal activity that is taking place
worse.
there. Or maybe even
It encourages it.
Encourage it. Yeah, in a way, there's a case to be made for that. So, but the real question is why? So why do you think the city officials' response has been so tepid to what's been going on at this park?
Because the mayor is a political coward who's running for re-election.
Oh, here we go.
This is a park that's favored not just by the gay community in Capitol Hill, but also the trans community. And this was initially created as, or responded to the claim that they would clean this park up, as they are attacking the LGBTQ2IAS plus community. How dare he? And of course, he doesn't want to have to engage in that kind of political, game with a community that's very loud, that's very organized, and actively, siding at this point with Katie Wilson, his opponent.
Doesn't that come across to you a little bit as like the soft bigotry of low expectations?
Yes,
we're
like
talking
I said,
about
he is a coward.
masturbating in public, leering in public sex.
This is not controversial to normal human beings. Normal human beings look at this and say, okay, maybe we disagree on the public nudity part, but the having sex in public and masturbating in your car in the parking lot in full view of children, it's wrong. It's wrong and criminal and should actually be dealt with.
Are they arresting? Have you seen any cases where they're actually arresting people for the lewd acts?
There were a couple cases within 3 months of the initial lawsuit that were cited in the lawsuit about one particular dude came from Renton, I believe, and he was caught a couple times, if memory serves.
And these are just the times he was caught.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we know many have not been caught because there's lots of video. It's all on my hard drive on my computer. Don't ask me why. But
people, it is funny because you've told me about this. People know that this is a story that you've been covering. They're sending you this stuff all the time.
So
You're like,
gross.
please stop sending me
this. I really don't need any. I've seen all I need to see. I believe you.
These poor neighbors, I feel so bad for these neighbors, though.
I know.
This is a nice area. They pay a lot of money for these houses. They want a clean neighborhood. If you're inviting this type of behavior and the city's not stepping in and shutting this down like strongly, then you're putting those people in danger because there's going to be at some point where somebody's not just satisfied with doing something to themselves. And you're putting the people in the neighborhood in a dangerous spot where they might want to walk by. Like some woman who lives in this neighborhood, she might want to walk by with her kids, and you can't anymore because you might run into somebody like this. And good Lord, you do not want that person around your kids.
There was, for one weekend, some police action at this particular park. This was after the lawsuit, before the fence. And there was one person who was asked to leave, and it happened to be someone who was transgender. And as a result of that, because that person was transgender, the police chief came out and apologized to the community, and then they stopped.
Was it a person doing lewd acts?
It was definitely nude. There was, as I recall, there was some argument that the individual got into with the officer, who was then put in a position. Okay, get out. We're citing you here to leave.
Sure.
So instead of this plan bringing about a resolution, it seems like this controversy is only getting hotter and hotter.
It made it worse. And it shows you just how feckless the mayor was by putting up this fence. And I imagine once this gets in front of a court again, and it's due soon, the judge is going to see this and say, oh, yes, so much for that stupid plan.
Yeah. It would be nice. I do think Harrell is in a point now where in this campaign, he's only got a couple months left.
Mm-hmm.
This would be a good move for him to start actually becoming strong on some of these issues. I don't think anybody out there would disagree with him.
But the person who beat him in the primary leans even more to the left. It leans even more.
I know. So like he can't win that territory. So why not win the territory on the side of law and order? Which
here's
people
why he
want.
won't do it. Here's why he won't do it. Because it makes sense to do it.
Oh, okay. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
So he won't do it because it makes sense.
The article is at seattlered.com. We
Check
have
it
a
out.
comment section, so I look forward to hearing everyone's either defense of this lunacy or maybe making some arguments that Seattle can swing somewhat in the normal direction, at least on this one issue.
Keep it in your pants.
Your nude parks expert, Jason Rants, everybody.
Perf Park.
Perf Park, sorry.
And please stop sending him video evidence. He's got enough. All right. Thank you so much, Jason. We appreciate it. When we come back, the Seattle Sounders had a big game against Inter Miami over the weekend. Probably the greatest player in soccer's history was in town. And after the game, something horrible happened, and we're going to get into it. We'll talk about it. And it's not good for MLS. It's not good if you're a person who loves to watch soccer. It's kind of crazy, and it's disgusting, and it's gross, but it happened, and we'll talk about it next. We'll be right back.
The Closing Bell is brought to you by Legacy Group Capital Common Sense Lending.
The John Curley Show.
In-N-Out Burger, is that the ones with the old-fashioned 1950s hat on and stuff like that?
Weekdays 3 to 7.
They definitely used to. I don't know.
I think they still have that.
Yeah,
they're
probably.
incredibly courteous service. I noticed that as well.
Yeah, they're
second only to Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A, those people are so kind. You could, while you're waiting in line, they baptize your child, spay and neuter people. Dogs, anyway, yeah.
Watch The John Curley Show live on YouTube.
Are you happy with how you feel these days? Are you slowing down physically or mentally? Ever wonder what your life will be like 10 to 15 years from now? Most of us don't really know how we're aging or if we can even do anything about it. But here's the truth. Knowledge is power, and that's exactly where we start at Longevity Medical Clinic. We run advanced diagnostics to find out what's really going on inside your body, and then we create a personalized hormone and health optimization plan designed specifically to help you live better starting now. Our patients are often amazed by what they discover in their blood work, and even more amazed at how quickly they start to feel like themselves again. This isn't guesswork, it's science, it's personal, and it works. Take the first step today. Call 866-86-YOUNG or visit LongevityMedicalClinic.com to schedule your free consultation. Longevity Medical Clinic. Feel better today and every day after that.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-486-9600. That's 800-486-9600.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to the end of summer sale at AutoZone. We're celebrating the end of long days and short nights with big deals for a short time, like car wash. Right now, you can save 20% on the Armor All Complete Car Wash Kit. Need new brakes? Duralast brake pads are free with the purchase of Duralast rotors. We've also got oil deals and more. We're ending the summer right with the end of summer sale at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Lowe's knows you've got a job to do, and we help get it done. With the MyLowe's Pro Rewards program, eligible members save more with volume discounts on qualifying orders through a quote of $2,000 or more. Join for free today. Lowe's, we help, you save. Offer can't be combined with any other discount, contract, and/or special pricing. Exclusions, more terms, and restrictions apply. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
When the weather changes, your home shouldn't be the one left unprepared. Hi, I'm Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors here. We offer the strongest solutions in roofing, siding, decking, windows, and gutters, made for the Pacific Northwest. And right now, get 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for 24 months or up to $3,000 off your next project. No gimmicks, no stress, just reliability you can count on. Visit stateroofing.com or call 866-ROOF-ROOF to schedule your free estimate today.
State Roofing, the best roof you'll ever need.
With football season comes cooler weather, so if you need new windows and doors, don't drop the ball. Steve Rabel here. Call on locally owned Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington to tackle your project. Their wide selection of windows and doors always beats the competition, and they'll give you top-notch customer service with no trick plays. Schedule a free consultation with Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. Go to PellaPNW.com. That's PellaPNW.com.
This might be the most surprising statistic I've shared in decades of doing local news. More than 75% of commuters will be involved in a car accident at some point. JP Pendergast of Pendergast Law with more.
What makes it more surprising? The average person will be involved in 3 to 4 collisions in their lifetime.
With accidents unbelievably prevalent, what are some safety tips if it happens to you?
Safety first. Secondary collisions are not uncommon while awaiting help. Turn on those hazards and remain in a safe place. If a bystander witnessed the accident, capture their information and encourage them to remain at the scene. Seek medical attention immediately if needed, as delaying can be a costly mistake. Lastly, remember that statements made to police and insurance adjusters can affect your case.
Collisions are more common than we'd like to think. If you find yourself in one, follow these helpful tips and then call my friends at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one's injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
PendergastLaw.com.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For them, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best.
Hey, it's Jason Rantz. Our local tax expert Greg Nunn wants taxpayers to know the IRS is now going after older cases very aggressively. If you received Form CP-504 from the IRS, do not ignore it. Be proactive and resolve your situation with Greg Nunn, N-U-N-N, None Better Tax Resolution.
Bathfitter just hit a big milestone, 42,000 installations in Western Washington. To celebrate, Bathfitter's offering payments as low as $125 a month. Ursula Royteen here. I chose Bathfitter Northwest because they work here, they live here, and they love making bathrooms better for their neighbors. Custom fit tub and shower solutions are installed in as little as 1 day, and every installation is backed by a lifetime warranty. Call Bathfitter or visit bathfitternw.com to schedule a free consultation. This special offer won't last.
Welcome back to the show. All right, there was a lot of controversy over the weekend. The Seattle Sounders were playing Inter Miami. Do you watch soccer, Greg? Are you a soccer fan or football?
I'm soccer curious, I guess, still. When the Sounders first became a part of the MLS in 2009, I really tried to get on board, Jake. I really gave it the old college try in the effort to get into soccer. I'd go to a few games. I had some friends who were into it, tried to follow them, and it's sort of tapered off as years have gone by.
Do you watch international soccer?
I'll watch World Cup for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I love international competitions.
So Seattle Sounders were playing against Inter Miami, which is, I think they're based out of Fort Lauderdale. Is that correct? Is that right? They're in Florida somewhere. I guess Inter Miami. That makes
Probably
sense.
Miami.
Probably Miami.
Just a guess.
Just a guess. You're right.
But apparently that team has a lot of big names. Am I correct?
Listen to these names on this team. This is
Will
crazy.
this mean anything to me?
Yeah, well, if you like international soccer, then it will. All right, here's the names of the people on the Inter Miami team. Lionel Messi, probably the best soccer player in the history of the game. Let's see who's next. Sergio Busquets, Jordi Alba, Luis Suarez, who got into it over the weekend. Did you see this story? You saw this?
Yeah, so apparently right after this match was over, and if you could put this in context for me, I'd really appreciate it. So the Sounders defeated Inter Miami in the League's Cup
3-0
with a 3-0 victory. Now, apparently, the Sounders became the first MLS club to win every major North American title. But what does this mean? What is the League Cup? I mean, there's a bunch of side tournaments during the regular season, right?
Side tournaments or just different cup things that they play, but then also this gives them better positioning in the CONCACAF seeding. So they'll get a bye for the first game in CONCACAF.
And that's an international tournament, right?
Yes, and so this is a good thing for them.
Got it.
So this is a huge reason to celebrate. Also, just because you're beating Lionel Messi's team, which is pretty phenomenal. It does suck, though, that he came all the way to Seattle and people didn't get to see him shine a little bit. So after the game, the final whistle blows, and I think we're going to play video here on the YouTube page if you're enjoying our live stream. But Luis Suarez is not happy with some of the calls that are happening during the game. And right after the final whistle, you can see a video of him, and he appears to spit on not another player, which would have been horrible, but he appears to spit on Seattle Sounders head of security, who's a guy named Gene Ramirez. I think he's a former cop, actually. And he ends up spitting on him. And Luis Suarez is, if you have followed his career at all, he's famous for getting into these scuffles on the field, like 3 prior biting incidents that left him suspended for many games. And so he has a history of this. And it's really disgusting. Here's a question for you: if you were going to get into a fight on a field like this, which tempers flare, people get excited. Sports is like, that's what's great about sports, is all the emotions in it. Would you rather get punched or hit by somebody, or would you rather get spit on?
The spit on thing is so gross.
It's so gross.
Just the back. I mean, I know you're a bit of a germaphobe, so I can imagine what your answer would be.
Because I wipe
but
things
having
down
someone's saliva
projected. It's so dehumanizing.
I'd go with the punch right to the nose over
Big
that.
time. Yeah, I'd rather somebody take a swing at me than spit in my
It's
face.
so degrading.
It is degrading.
Yes.
Somebody just spitting on your face. It's like them saying, like, you're less than.
You're worthless.
You're worthless to me. I'm spitting on your face. And you have a guy who's one of the most famous soccer players in the last decade, easily, last 2 decades. Luis Suarez, who's had a phenomenal career despite his many, the incidents that he gets into, his biting incidents. He's spitting down here to somebody who should not have to suffer that from him. We also have, I think we have some audio from this actually. This is
There's
Richard.
a big shoving match too on the field.
Yes, shoving match. There was people who were stomped on. It was just a really ugly situation. I still don't think that we know what he might suffer repercussion wise from the league for doing this. Richard Meeks is executive director of the Northwest Soccer officials, and he commented on this. Oh, here's my audio here. My bad. There we go.
It's disappointing. As a referee, it's hard to see that in a big game like that because our kids mimic what happens and what they see in the pros, and we will see that bleed over to our games when kids don't accomplish what they want.
Isn't that horrible? Some little kid watching this and sees that and goes, I guess spitting in the face of your opponent or somebody you don't like or somebody you disagree with, that's okay.
So Victor Robles got 10-game suspension for throwing a bat at a pitcher. I know it was reduced to 7 games, I believe. Spitting in someone's face? That's got to be a good month.
Let's see what happens. He's very famous, which might play into what the MLS decides to do. All right, we got a lot more coming up. Stick around. We will be right back.
Celebrating 50 years of Seahawks football with the voice of the Seahawks, Steve Rabel.
Number 71, Walter Jones, left tackle. The anchor to the left side of the offensive line for the Seahawks that went to the Super Bowl. One of the best players in franchise history.
Since the beginning, KIRO is where Seattle and the Pacific Northwest have heard the Seahawks play. Here's to the next 50 years.
You hear that? That's the sound of your business losing money. Legacy phone systems weren't built for today's teams. OpenPhone gives your business a smarter way to stay connected. OpenPhone lets you manage calls, texts, voicemail, and contacts all in one place so that you and your team can deliver a seamless customer experience from ring to... Need to take calls on the go? OpenPhone automatically transcribes, summarizes, and highlights next steps from every call, so you never miss a detail. Need insight into what closes a sale? With OpenPhone's AI call tags, you can instantly spot key topics like objections or pricing questions, and use those insights to coach your team and level up every customer interaction. And yes, you can bring your existing number with you for free. Keep your team in sync and your customers happy with OpenPhone. OpenPhone. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try OpenPhone for free at openphone.com/free and get 20% off your first 6 months. That's openphone.com/free. openphone.com/FREE.
Eric Johnson here. I spent the past 30 years working to help make our community better informed, better protected when it comes to consumer issues, and better equipped to take on whatever life throws at us. That's why I love the free Washington Accident book series from Davis Law Group. These books keep us better informed about the law, better able to protect ourselves on and off the road, and better off when all is said and done after an accident. Chris Davis didn't have to write these books. He did it because he saw a need. People who were in accidents or other legal situations didn't know what to do, what pictures to take, documents to request. Only a tiny fraction of the people who get these free books will ever become clients of Davis Law Group, but that's not the point. Chris wrote them because it was the right thing to do. The free Washington Accident Book Series is a must-have for drivers who want to be prepared for whatever the road might throw at them. Get yours at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-972-0588. 800-972-0588. 800-972-0588.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Your new beginning starts now. D.R. Horton has new construction homes available throughout the greater Seattle area. With spacious floor plans, flexible living spaces, and home technology packages, you can enjoy more cozy moments and sweet memories in your beautiful new home. With new home communities opening throughout the Seattle area, D.R. Horton has the ideal home for you. Visit drhorton.com to learn more. D.R. Horton, America's builder. An equal housing opportunity builder.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio, KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Cammie McCormick. President Trump is standing firm on his plans to send federal forces into Chicago to combat crime. Correspondent Nancy Cortez has the latest from the White House.
He said he'd like the governor of Illinois to invite the president to send the National Guard in, but he said even if Pritzker doesn't, he's going to do it anyway. He said we have the right to do it. So this was the president on the same day that a federal judge in California said that President Trump didn't have the right to deploy the National Guard in the way he did in Los Angeles.
Governor Pritzker, after the president's remarks, insisted it's not about crime, it's about cracking down on immigrants.
Unidentifiable agents in unmarked vehicles with masks are planning to raid Latino communities and say they're targeting violent criminals.
Trump said he also plans to send federal forces to Baltimore. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has reportedly approved sending up to 600 military lawyers to the Justice Department to serve as temporary immigration judges. Trump was asked today about a gathering of leaders in China, including North Korea's Kim Jong-un and Russia's Vladimir Putin.
I had actually a very good meeting with President Putin a couple of weeks ago. We'll see if anything comes out of it. If it doesn't, we'll take a different stance.
NATO says it's working to counter Russian jamming of satellite navigation systems after the EU president's plane lost GPS navigation in Bulgarian airspace. Secretary General Mark Rutte.
Jamming commercial airplanes with potentially disastrous effects. I can assure you that we are working day and night to counter this, to prevent it, and to make sure that they will not do it again.
As House Democrats and some Republicans push for a floor vote on forcing the release of the Epstein files in late July, House Speaker Mike Johnson sent the House home. Now lawmakers are returning, as Caitlin Huey-Burns reports.
Republican leaders up here on Capitol Hill had hoped that the August recess might help this story die down a little bit, and they've found out today that it hasn't. You have two leading members of Congress, Thomas Massie, a Republican, and Ro Khanna, a Democrat, pushing for what's known as a discharge petition. This is a way for lawmakers to gather enough signatures to force a vote on something.
Google will avoid a breakup in the search monopoly case against it, but a judge today ordered some major changes. They will include ordering Google to share data with competitors to open up the competition in online searches. On Wall Street today, stocks finished lower. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Get renter's insurance to protect the things that make your place a home, including coverage for theft or damage. Visit Progressive.com.
Billions of dollars short. Seattle's mayor presents his plan to save money for sound transit. That's coming up after Nate Connors at the traffic desk.
Thanks, Aaron. Lake Washington Windows and Doors has our update. Let's start you in South Center. South 5 remains pretty heavy between 405 and 516 from our earlier car fire. Seattle to Federal Way taking you right around 40 minutes. Still a 15-minute delay as we catch up here. Now, this backup has been sending drivers over to the Valley Freeway. Now, that is crowded from 405 to 516 as well. Renton to Auburn, 25 minutes, a 10-minute delay. South Center to Bellevue recovering nicely from our earlier blocking issues near the VMAC. It's taking you 20 minutes to make this trip. South 405, however, is getting crowded through Factoria down to Renton. Bellevue to Renton pushing 25 minutes. North 5 into Seattle slows approaching the West Seattle Bridge into downtown. South 5 looking good. You won't start slowing until you hit the Ship Canal Bridge. Lake Washington Windows Autumn Savings Event is on now. Save $500 per window, $1,000 per door, plus 12 months, same as cash financing. Details at lakewashingtonwindows.com. KIRO News Radio Real-Time Traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Well, good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granillo. As Sound Transit faces a $30 billion construction shortfall, Seattle and King County leaders announce a plan that they say will prevent delays and streamline costs. KIRO News Radio's James Lynch has more.
Mayor Harrell says light rail expansion was approved by voters and they should get what they were promised. To that end, Harrell says the city will streamline the city's permitting processes and he will add bodies to the city's team working with Sound Transit on expansion to Ballard and West Seattle.
We have to advance our projects quickly. Every single day of delay adds unnecessary expense to taxpayers.
Harold says it is unclear whether cost overruns might compromise expansion plans, but he hopes not. James Lynch, KIRO News Radio.
Seattle's top prosecutor is suing Glock. City Attorney Ann Davison argues those pistols are too easy to convert into illegal machine guns. She says the Glock switch is fueling a rise in gun violence, and the city wants the gun maker to change its design. We have reached out to Glock for comments. A local sheriff recently took to social media floating the idea of banning transgender people from owning guns. KIRO News Radio's Frank Lindsay has that story.
Pierce County Sheriff Keith Swank made that post in the wake of last week's school shooting in Minnesota, where the shooter, who took their own life, was transgender. He tells the Jason Rant Show on Seattle Red 770 AM.
This is a social experiment where the people on the left want to have gun control. So I'm going to say, what do you think about this? Is it mental health?
KIRO News Radio reached out to the sheriff's office asking about its social media policy. And after that, Swank posted on X, quote, "It's obvious this person wants to silence me. Here's the policy. I am the sheriff, and I can say whatever I want." Frank Lindsay, KIRO News Radio.
I'll expect to pay more now if you ride Metro. Adult fares jumped yesterday from $2.75 to $3 on buses, Metro Flex, and the streetcar. First time Metro has raised fares since 2018. Discounted fares for seniors, youth, and Orca Lift riders, they are not changing. Weather forecast now brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Mostly sunny for the rest of this afternoon. Morning clouds again tomorrow, followed by afternoon sunshine. Highs in the upper 70s this week. Warmer along the foothills where there is a heat advisory. Right now, 72 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News. It's the all-new Jake and Spike Show on KIRO News Radio.
Welcome back to the show. 2 hours down, 1 hour to go. Lots of great stuff to still talk about. Greg Tomlin sitting in. Spike O'Neill's out of town for a few days.
My brother.
Welcome. Glad
Thank
you're
you.
here. Continued welcome. I mean, I've already welcomed you. It's been 2 hours. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I just ran up from downstairs. Greg, do you get to Pike Place Market very often?
But I haven't been there in years. I hear there's a pizza place right around there that's one of the best rated in all of Seattle. Okay. So my wife has been wanting to get down there. But yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while. I go every day. It's one of my daily stops. No, just kidding. I don't.
Okay.
No, I don't. That would be difficult. It's even more difficult now because they've stopped cars. You can't. They've shut down the cars that drive through there. Have you seen this?
Well, most cars, yes.
They've shut down the cars. the pedestrians
They're taking over.
They're taking over. They're feeling emboldened. So any car that comes through now, including like emergency vehicles, people are like, hey, what are you doing? This is a no-car zone. And Seattle Times had this interesting piece about it. So the Pike Place market, the thing that makes it unique, I guess, is that it still smells bad. You know, it's like it's a real market.
That's the thing that makes it unique.
No, it really is.
It smells like fish. Yeah, sure.
So they had the opportunity in this article. This is really interesting. They had the opportunity back in the 1960s, again in the early 90s, where they were considering how to update it for pedestrians.
Or tear it down. There's even a point where they thought, well, some residential area here.
Absolutely. It's very valuable land. Mm-hmm. And so the idea was, all right, how do we move this thing forward so it feels like it's got some modern stuff, but we don't want to lose some of the original charm of the market.
An iconic historical status.
Yeah. And when I think of the market, I think about there's like some magic shops. There are...
I loved those as a kid.
Me too.
Totally.
Yeah. And whenever I go down there, which again is... I try to get down there once every decade. Whenever I get down there, it means that there's somebody who's in town who has seen it in a movie and they want to go to like a touristy spot. And so that's why you go there. Because it was in, what's the movie?
Sleepless in Seattle.
Sleepless in Seattle.
You're right. And next to the Space Needle, I mean, Pike Place Market is sort of the symbol that outsiders associate with this region.
100%. Yeah. And so they don't want to lose the grittiness of the market. They want to make it feel like, all right, this is an actual working market. There's like people who throw fish, which again, I don't know how, I mean, that feels markety to me. I don't think that it's actually beneficial to their business to be throwing fish, but whatever, they throw fish and people like it. And there's people who sell flowers that are really beautiful. And there's all these different stuff. You can get like hot nuts. There's all these different things you can get down there. And so they don't want to lose that. And so they decide to shut down the street that goes through the market. So you can't drive through there anymore. People are not angling for parking positions. They're not sitting there idling, waiting to get a parking spot. And so pedestrians have now taken over that street. And they're going to continue to keep that pedestrian only for a while. But one of the things that they have not communicated great is the vendors who rent spaces at the Pike Place Market still can ship their stuff in. So they still have to unload lots of stuff.
Sometimes multiple times a day.
Multiple times a day in big trucks. And so pedestrians see these big trucks coming through and they get their hackles up because they read that they're not supposed to have any vehicles coming through there.
Right.
But the vendors are like, no. I got 2 shipments of hot nuts coming through, and I got to make sure to
get
these.
on these hot nuts. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to get my hot nuts, and if I don't get my hot nuts, they're going to be cold nuts. Nobody wants to buy your cold nuts. And then the pedestrians are like, get this truck out of here.
Right.
You're not allowed in here. It's a pedestrian only area.
I'm walking here. I'm walking here. Right.
Get these nuts out of here. And so they're in a really tricky spot because now they have to communicate again to the people who are taking over the roads. Well, these are still roads and trucks can still come through because if we don't have any shops at the Pike Place Market, there's no reason to be here.
And maybe some clear signage would help this to let pedestrians know that every once in a while the occasional vehicle still might make it through here, but still at peak hours, especially during summer months, I mean, you could have hundreds of people walking those streets.
Easily.
And think of how difficult it would be to get them all off the road at one point in time for a vehicle to come, and then 30 minutes later, here comes another vehicle with fresh produce or something.
You got like
that
a
they
big
need
truck of hot cashews coming through.
Drop off, so it's quite a conundrum, yeah.
Yeah, and, you know, they need to I do think you're right. I think they need to put up signage. This is like, you know, vendors can still bring in their whatever. I'm using the example of hot nuts just because I think I'm hungry.
There you go.
But I do think that would be a thing for pedestrians to be aware of. So if you're listening to this and you're going to be walking down there soon, you should make room for trucks. Like people are blocking the roads and they're not getting out of the way, and the vendors are not able to get their trucks in, and this is becoming a problem. So they do need to solve this. By the way, quick side question.
I have a side question for you too.
Do you like the idea that they just got rid of the vehicles around Pike Place?
Yeah, I think it encourages more walkability and more people to go there, and probably safer in some respects. But I remember in some regards, you had to have your head on a swivel a little bit. Last time I was at Pike Place Market, when I think more passenger vehicles were allowed there to just get around, it was like there's always a question. Like, should we be walking in the middle of the road right now? I think. I'm not sure.
Everybody else is in the middle
Some
of the
other
road.
people are. But now it sounds it's just become a sea of people going in the area. But along those same lines, Jake, I don't know if in the back of my mind I've just been hesitant to visit this area of Seattle recently because part of me, I don't want to use the word dismayed. That's too big of a word. But I feel like there's been huge investment in trying to make these areas of the city more attractive to tourists, right? With the new walkway around the aquarium and the waterfront and the Pike Place Market, we're going to remove vehicles and just more and more people can come here. And I feel like maybe I'm wrong, but are you losing a little bit of the authentic Seattle and creating more of a commercialized, just sort of tourist place to visit rather than a place for locals to really enjoy and feel some ownership over? Like, have you ever been to New York? Have you ever been to big cities? Like, I went to New York for 3 days, the only time I've ever been there. And I just went to the touristy areas, and I just couldn't help but think, this isn't really New York.
No, of course
This is where people like me come and, quote unquote, see New York. And look, I see the big bull, and there's the Wall Street Bull, and I can't help but think that New Yorkers are probably like, get stupid tourists, like, get out of here. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I remember I went to Israel one time back in 2008, and you think, oh, I'm going to the Holy Land, right? It's like where all the people of my faith once walked. You get Jesus and St. Paul and Stephen, and you go there, and it's like people are selling you like little crosses, and you realize, oh, people come from all over the world to like spend money at these little shops in like downtown Jerusalem.
I have one of those that hangs on my Christmas tree. It's like, this is from
I probably
Jerusalem.
do, right? You know what I mean? But part of me is like a little saddened that the nature of those places sort of change into, oh, we got to make sure we're just accommodating visitors because that's where we make all our money, and that's what the bottom line is to be appealing for people to come here outside of town.
It's tricky because
maybe I'm wrong in that analysis, but somehow that's how it feels in my mind.
I don't think you're wrong. I haven't spent a ton of time back east, but when I go to New York, I'm always going to like touristy spots.
Yeah.
I'm not going and hanging out in real neighborhoods. I'm like going downtown and I'm buying hot nuts wherever they sell them. And
there you go again.
And I've been out to see the Statue of Liberty, which is a very touristy thing. I don't think the average New Yorker's going out to see the Statue of Liberty.
Right.
They probably don't even really notice it anymore because they live their life. Probably the average New Yorker actually doesn't get downtown much, would be my guess, because they've got other things that they're doing. And it's a giant tourist trap, and you don't want to get stuck down there.
Yeah.
The same thing with Pike Place. Why would you go there if you weren't a tourist? You just wouldn't.
Well, unless you worked there, or
well, I understand, but like all these shops, so it is a double-edged sword where you're trying to keep it real and authentic. But the only people who go there are tourists. Are there normal people? I mean, I guess there's a very small group of people who might live in that specific area of Seattle, like who might pop in to get, like if they're like a huge fan of hot nuts, they might go in and get some hot nuts there, or they might go buy flowers there before dinner time or something. If they have people coming over and they want to beautify their spread, they might buy some flowers. Mostly it's just tourists, though.
Here's a question for both you and Laura. So, again, maybe 15 years ago, I got to spend a week in Ireland. And you go to Dublin, right, and you see the Guinness factory, another tourist destination, or this classic pub that's been here forever, but it's really full of, like, Americans and tourists gathering from all over the world. We also went to some smaller counties in Ireland, and the best experience we had there by far was we called a cab, we get in there, and we said, take us to the least touristy pub in County Cork or County Kerry or wherever we were.
Sure.
And we go to this little hole in the wall with like no signage whatsoever, open the door, and there, of course, is the fire roaring and musicians playing their instruments, and it's phenomenal atmosphere, right? And we're the annoying Americans. But I have to say, like, that felt more like Ireland than I could have ever imagined any like the big city places.
Which is what you want.
Which is what I
like
wanted. Okay, so in terms of Seattle, and historic Seattle, in this area around here, when these places become bigger tourist attractions like downtown Pike Place, the walkway, the waterfront, and all that kind of thing, where's the authentic parts of Seattle that's still like, no, this is the true Seattle? And I mean that in a positive sense. I know there's people on the east side going, yeah, that's why I never go to Seattle, because the true Seattle is riddled with crime and it's terrible.
Which is not incorrect.
Parts of it.
Let's be generous and just say that you're going to have a crime-free day. You're going to go to Seattle and you're not going to get stabbed.
Crime-free day. Best case scenario.
Best case scenario, you go down there and you have a good time and you're not going to get stabbed. The nice thing is, like the spot that you're talking about that feels authentic is also a touristy spot. Like I do think the Pike Place
You still
market,
think it is. It's maintained some of that essence still.
it still feels kind of like a place where maybe it's not super safe around every corner, which makes me feel like it's more authentic. If it felt, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like if I went to the New Seattle waterfront, which I have not been to yet, but I've driven past. Laura, you've been there, right? The New Seattle waterfront?
Oh, many times.
It's beautiful.
I adore it.
It's gorgeous. You probably feel really safe there too, right?
Yeah.
So that doesn't feel totally authentic to me because that is completely
Manufactured?
a manufactured tourist spot. It didn't spring up because it was like originally needed for any other reason than to draw in tourists, whereas the market was originally because they actually, I think the original market was to sell onions. I could be wrong about that, but look it up. Like they actually needed to sell produce in that area, and then it sprung up, this cool vibe around the market sprung up, and it became a tourist spot. So there's like a real authentic part of the past. Did you look that up? Oh, you're reading text messages from.
Well,
the
I was
audience.
going to pose the question to listeners if people still want to experience authentic Seattle where, people live, work, and play that's not kind of been a massive influx of those traveling from around the world. What would you think, or what destination?
Yeah.
Like a Dick's Burgers
Go
or
to a
something
Dick's
like that, kind of like
Burger.
going to an In-N-Out in
Yeah.
California or
Yeah, check it
Ridgefield
out
for
there.
that matter. But what about you, Laura? Would you have a destination or a place in mind that you say this actually represents the city very well,
And again-
you get a lot of Seattle-lites here doing Seattle-type things?
with no worries of being stabbed.
Okay.
Or doing fentanyl or
Yeah.
I mean, my first thought is sort of like dive bars. I feel like it really taps into the grunge culture. It's very cozy when it rains, no matter the season. So I live Linda's Tavern and Montana, both in Capitol Hill.
Oh, okay.
If you're walking around Capitol Hill and you want a bar that doesn't feel like it's filled with Amazon tech bros and tourists, like either one of those have that real kind of like grungy, lived-in vibe that I love.
I also, to circle back to your question,
Mm-hmm.
I also really like tourist spots because it's clean. I do like cleanliness. That's the thing that I
You're
do.
like, actually, Laura, I don't want to go to either of those places.
Well, you've described them as being kind of grungy, and as soon as you said grungy, I just went, I can smell it. You know what I mean? Like in my head, I can smell what that smells like.
Well,
And
I want to speak to Pioneer Square. The potential Pioneer Square has
I
to
worked
be
in
that
Pioneer
kind of
Square for a
I know
while.
it's gone downhill for many, many, many decades.
I will
thought
say
you
that
said
the
no
Downtown
stabbings.
Seattle Association has put a lot of effort into making that like Occidental Square Center much nicer than it used to be. Like lighting and I drove by the other day. There was cornhole. It was like cornhole, and people were playing it. There were
Really?
actually people enjoying that park. There's a little playground.
That's nice.
So I've seen some improvements.
Okay, that's a good suggestion. Is there anything coming in on the text line that's worthy of note? Anybody have any
And
suggestions?
First Thursdays in Pioneer Square, the Art Walk
Okay.
is like that's the best art walk in the city.
You
And
had
if
me
you
at Art
happen to
Walk.
be in town.
Steve 3PO
First
says
Thursday.
Daryl's Tavern.
Okay.
Daryl's Tavern. And where is that?
I don't know of Daryl's Tavern.
Okay, well, shout out then.
Shout out. Good job, Daryl.
Hope it's great.
That's probably Daryl texting us.
Someone said Leavenworth. That's a bit of a drive.
That's what I would suggest. Anybody coming into Seattle who wants a good touristy
Do you like
spot,
Bavaria?
I would try actually to go to Bell Square. You're going to love it. And then go to Leavenworth. And that's a great day trip. And you're going to have a great time. And it's beautiful. And the drive is really nice. All right. We'll collect some of these. Maybe we can find some of these answers in the text messages for our end of the show here. All right, real fast. Have you guys seen this new fast food war that's happening? McDonald's has announced that as of September 8th, so was that 6 days away here, they're going to put a bunch of food on a reduced price to try to get people in the door. Last year, there was this viral news story that kind of swept around. And at one location of a McDonald's where was this at? I think this was in Connecticut. A Big Mac meal was $18, which is a lot of money for a Big Mac, fries, and a Coke. $18.
Le Big Mac, yeah.
Le Big Mac, absolutely, yeah. Super fancy Frenchie. And so McDonald's responded and said, well, that's an exception. All the franchisees actually set their own prices, but they're not going to be able to set them super far over what everybody else is setting them. And I, as a person who occasionally, not always, but I do occasionally like to eat fast food, it's a guilty pleasure, and it has gotten really, really expensive. Like, it's got really expensive.
I mean, my go-to is the 2 cheeseburger meal.
Heck yeah.
$12? I mean,
it's pricey.
something insane.
Yeah, it's not cheap. When I used to eat at McDonald's, it used to feel like, all right, I know this food is not super good for me. It's got a lot of preservatives.
Wait, what?
I could toss it in the back of my car and it's going to look the same in 2 months. Or I could eat it now and enjoy it. But the price was never like crazy. You would buy it and go,
That was the draw.
That was the draw.
It's technically food, but you're not paying for the real price of food.
Going to McDonald's was not the same experience as going to like a high-class restaurant like Red Robin, where I would happily pay a little bit more. And then at some point, you're like, why are these foods costing the same?
Yes, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
I would sit down for this one. I'm not sitting down for this one. I'm just driving through. I'm literally shoving it in my mouth as I'm driving. And it's costing the same, if not more, sometimes, depending on what you ordered. But now McDonald's has announced that they're going to...
slashing prices. Their extra value meals are now going to cost 15% less than ordering each of those items separately. And yeah, apparently one of the big indicators for them to make this move is that people in America who make $45,000 a year or less are visiting that fast food chain way less often than they used to.
This has gotten so crazy.
But this also speaks to the difficulty of finding that sweet spot with any kind of business. It's like increased price, okay, you're increasing revenue, but then you've priced people out of buying it.
You have less sales.
You have to find that sweet spot amount, and it's a kind of an endless guessing and checking.
Can I also say real fast, they need to do some work. I'm happy that they're doing this and lowering the prices. And I know we got to go here, but they need to do some work on the Happy Meal toys.
They've gone downhill.
Happy Meal toys used to be, when I was a kid, they would make you happy. It was in the name. Now they're depressing. They should be called depressed meal toys. Or not just about the depressed
That would
meals.
meet the cultural moment we're in with Gen Z.
They had...
The depression meal?
They had the coolest toys ever. They had Transformers, like the legit Transform when I was a kid. I have a Back to the Future car still from a Happy Meal toy back in the 1980s that when you zoom it along and spin the wheels, it shoots sparks out. Look it up online. It's very, very cool. We still have one of these from all these years later. I don't know when the toys started being so lame. Now they're all like these little like plush toys. Speaking of plush toy, can we come back to this? There's a
You want to keep going?
Not on toys, but this is kind of. There was a counterfeit. Have you guys heard of Labubus? Did you know? I feel stupid even saying that name. Am I saying that right? Labubu?
Yes, you're saying it right.
Labubu. I don't even know how to describe this. It's like we'll tell you about it next. There's counterfeits. Do you know what these are, Greg?
A counterfeit Labubu kind of sounds like those prank toys. You could buy like a spilled drink or that plastic fake dog poo.
It's not.
That's a counterfeit Labubu.
It sounds like that, but it's we'll tell you about it next. It's very confusing, but apparently it's all the rage. Stick around, be right back.
This hour is brought to you by Sharp Vision Modern LASIK and Lens.
The John Curley Show.
I told my wife once that you can tell the temperature outside.
Weekdays 3 to 7.
You count the number of chirps that a cricket makes in 15 seconds, and you multiply that by 4, and that tells you the outside temperature. All right, you know what?
What kind of formulas?
I'm going to look it up. And you know what? You're going to be eating your words in there, Mr. Laffy, Laffy.
Okay. The John Curley Show. Weekdays 3 to 7. Watch The John Curley Show live on YouTube.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Mom, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotion. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. Consequently, they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Dial pound 250 and say the words micro, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 micro. Pure Talk. Everything you need and nothing you don't.
I'm Captain John Kelly with the Salvation Army. The Seattle Addiction Recovery Program helps men break free from addiction at no cost to them through physical, emotional, and spiritual growth. That's why our success rate is nearly 4 times the national average. While participants pay nothing, it costs the Salvation Army about $10,000 to help one person graduate into recovery. Want to help? Join us for the Red Shield Classic Golf Tournament, September 11th at Echo Falls. Register or donate at tsaredshieldclassic.org. Together, we can change lives.
Upgrade your home comfort and save 20% during the Bob's Heating preseason furnace sale. With great savings plus free financing on heat pumps, water heaters, generators, and more, our award-winning team has what you need to stay cozy this chilly season at a cost you're comfortable with. Voted best in the Pacific Northwest, we're honored to be your dedicated home comfort company since 1957. Call Bob's and save today.
Bob's Heating and Air Conditioning. Call Bob.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Real Success. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at OurRealSuccess.com.
Do you want to learn how to make money flipping houses and acquiring rental properties right here in Seattle without using your own money? You'll learn to flip houses and secure rental properties in your spare time to get on track towards real wealth building. We're offering a handful of motivated individuals the opportunity to attend our workshop right here in Seattle for free. That's right, we'll give you 2 free tickets when you text FREE to 64,000. Seattle is the perfect market to flip houses and build rental income. Don't miss this opportunity. Come to a complimentary live 2-hour workshop this week right here in Seattle and learn how to start making money flipping homes and building long-term wealth with rental properties. To get 2 free tickets, text FREE to 64,000. Text in the next 10 minutes, and registrants will also receive a free copy of our Funding for Deals guide. Text FREE to 64,000 for 2 complimentary tickets. Text FREE to 64,000.
If you've been considering surgery or even joint replacement, let me suggest something. Hi, it's Dave Ross. I've now talked to over 200 patients of Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, so many of whom have told me about the life-changing results, and those are their words, after treatment at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. These are people with severe osteoarthritis, even bone on bone, and they tell me that they're back hiking, jogging, playing tennis, skiing, golfing, walking up and down stairs, playing with the kids, the grandkids, and doing it without pain and without surgery. Dr. Mark Wagner's 60-minute outpatient procedure uses your own stem cells, and because they're your own stem cells, they can help regenerate your own cartilage in your own joints. Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, is a board-certified Seattle physician with over 30 years of experience, and he's performed over 20,000 stem cell procedures. Also, he's one of the few doing it the right way. So listen to his patients, and remember, whether it's a shoulder, hip, elbow, ankle, wrist, or knee, before you choose surgery, first see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD. Get the facts, then get back in the game at drmarkwagnermd.com.
Switching bath soap from sandalwood to tropical essence? That's glamping in the rainforest. Sometimes a different way is the better way. Like the SR 509 Expressway near SeaTac. Tolling soon. Free Good-to-Go sticker pass at goodtogo509.com.
KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO Newsradio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granillo. President Trump says he is going to send federal forces into Chicago. He gave no timeline today, but he says it's part of a nationwide crackdown on crime and illegal immigration. Reaction from Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker.
Let's be clear. The terror and cruelty is the point, not the safety of anyone living here.
Pritzker says he expects National Guard members and immigration agents to start targeting Latino communities, he says, in the coming days. The families of victims of Boeing plane crashes may have one last chance to ask for criminal prosecution. CBS's Matt Piper explains.
A federal judge in Texas is set to hear arguments Wednesday on a government motion to dismiss charges against Boeing. Prosecutors in the U.S. charged Boeing with conspiracy to commit fraud in connection with crashes that killed 346 people off the coast of Indonesia and in Ethiopia. Boeing pleaded guilty instead of going to trial, but a judge rejected the aircraft maker's plea agreement in December. The judge has invited some of the families to address the court, some of whom want him to appoint a special prosecutor to take over the case. Matt Piper, CBS News.
Tragic crash in Bellingham claimed the life of a Nooksack Valley High School sophomore. The Whatcom County Sheriff's Office says the teen was thrown from a car that rolled several times on Noon Road yesterday. Two other students, they're both seniors, were taken to the hospital where they are recovering. Seattle Public Schools says they are ready for tomorrow's opening day despite budget challenges that may lead to larger class sizes. KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey has the latest there.
In order to shore up a looming $80 million budget shortfall, Interim Superintendent Fred Podesta says not this year, but next year. They may have to cut buses and bus routes, add a third bell time to spread buses out, and
we might have to have larger class sizes. School schedule is important, but that's one of those things we think we can do.
The district begins this year without a permanent superintendent and an unfinished draft of a new 5-year strategic plan. Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio.
Turning now to the real-time traffic desk at 2:34. Here's Nate Connors.
Thanks, Aaron. Lake Washington Windows and Doors has the update. Seattle to Federal Way, still a 40-minute drive. It's packed from 405 to 516, where an earlier car fires on your right shoulder, and drivers are still slowing at the scene to check it out. The Valley Freeway, you're filling in pretty quickly now. South 5, heavy between Renton and Kent. You'll clear out through Auburn before hitting another backup, a thick one there at Highway 18. Renton to Puyallup was at 50 minutes. Westbound 18, bumper to bumper from 167 over to I-5. Here in Seattle, North 5 jams up at the West Seattle Bridge. South 5 is heavy starting at the Ship Canal Bridge in the downtown. Linwood to Seattle, though, looking good, less than 20 minutes. If you're heading over Snoqualmie Pass, eastbound 90 has a 6 to 7 mile bumper-to-bumper backup between North Bend and the Summit due to road work. North Bend to Ellensburg has a 1-hour delay, taking 2 hours and 15 minutes right now. And on the water, the Kingston Ferry Terminal reporting a 1-hour wait for drivers. Lake Washington Windows Autumn Savings Event is on now. Save $500 per window, $1,000 per door, plus 12 months, same as cash financing. Details at lakewashingtonwindows.com. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
Forecast now brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Afternoon sunshine today, and for this week, after some morning clouds, highs each day in the mid to upper 70s. A bit warmer in the foothills. There is a heat advisory in the foothills and in the Cascades. Right now, 73 in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Welcome back to the show. I saw this story on mynorthwest.com. You guys should go read about it if you are a fan of Labubus, which is, I don't understand what it is. Laura, welcome to the show.
Hi.
What is a
I'll
Labubu?
help.
What's a Labubu?
A Labubu is a blind box stuffy from Pop Mart, which creates like collectible items for all kinds of different brands.
When you say blind box stuffy, what's a blind box stuffy?
So a blind box it's a Labubu at its base is a little stuffed animal. It's part of a line of other little stuffed animals that look like little monsters.
Hey, they're zoomorphic elves, okay?
Yes. It's got a terrifying toothy grin, and it's very fuzzy. Its face is plastic, and then it's like squishy, and it's about keychain size, maybe like 6 inches. So
is it like a Beanie Baby?
Similar to a Beanie Baby, a little bit firmer than a Beanie Baby.
What about compared to a Squishmallow?
No,
much smaller than a Squishmallow.
Are huge. We have a ton of those at the house.
Okay.
Those are big.
Much smaller. Really, the way that adults are wearing them is like as a keychain off of your bag or purse,
These
or
are not children's
off of your
toys.
jeans.
These are for adults.
At this point, it's really an adult craze. And so the blind box thing makes it a lot more interesting. And Pop Mart as a brand does a lot of blind boxes. Basically, you order one, but you have no idea what color it's going to be until you open the box. And once you've opened the box, you can't return it. So it incentivizes you to buy a bunch of different blind boxes, hoping that you can get the color that you actually want.
Do people buy these mystery boxes? It's just a mystery box.
Mystery box.
Do people buy these mystery boxes and then just leave them unopened and then they sell them for more money? It's like a pyramid scheme. What is this?
Well, people will buy them, open them, and then you can buy the color that you actually want, but at a significant markup. And then there's also drops of the blind boxes. So you have to get on the website and wait for a drop, and you can like open your blind box on the website after you've purchased it, but you can't change it at that point, or you can have it be a surprise for when it shows up to your house.
Do people open these on video? Like I see, like they do.
That's a huge trend. Yeah.
So they do baseball card like openings. You buy these baseball card packs and you don't know what's in them, but hopefully you're going to have some like big find.
Or like I've seen people do with Pokemon too.
Pokemon is another one. So this is just like
it's a very similar thing, just with a little stuffed animal.
But and you hang them on your. Do you hang them on your? Where do you hang them? Like a purse?
Well, on a purse, on a bag, like a tote bag would be great.
With a keychain, I guess.
You could link them to your jeans, like on your belt hook.
Do you have one?
Loop. I do not have a Labubu.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
But one of my really
smart.
good friends has a Labubu. She wanted green, but she got blue.
Does she feel like it makes her special because she has this child's toy?
She was hesitant to like buy one and give into the craze, but then she was like, I want one, and it's only like $30 for
$30 for a keychain?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what I understand, they range from $30 to $2,000, and the most expensive Labubu that ever sold.
$2,000?
One sold for $10,000 on eBay not so long ago. So this is a bit of a phenomenon. And as you said, Laura, they're produced by a company called Pop Mart, which is a Chinese-based retailer. So there is some shipping involved, clearly, when they come to the United States.
But $10,000 for one of these things seems insane. Just absolutely
like
insane.
I said, it's a blind box situation. So, and they also have limited edition runs. I mean, it's all, to be perfectly honest, it's all just a scheme to get you to buy a bunch of the product.
Yeah, of
But they'll have limited edition runs, and then they won't sell that one anymore.
It's not like there's a finite amount of Labubus out there. It's not like these are diamonds or gold.
At this point, I would guarantee if you walk down the street in downtown Seattle, you'll see a Labubu within 5 minutes. Like, they're extremely common, but people get really fixated on wanting a specific color or one from a specific drop, and that's kind of where the craze
Do you guys remember the Beanie Baby craze? I mean, obviously you must.
My sister was big into it when she was little.
Laura, were you old enough for the Beanie Baby craze?
I was not old enough, but the last time we talked about this, a really kind listener sent me a Beanie Baby that now sits on my desk.
Oh, that's nice.
It's like an Old Glory 4th
it wasn't
of July.
A Princess Di. Okay,
theme.
it wasn't a Princess Di one.
Yeah, not a Princess Di one, but it's kind of gotten me into it.
And when
It's
I
really
hear
cute.
more about Labubus and Labubu owners, my default is to want to judge these people and maybe even mock, but then I get humbled for a second and I think, how is this any different, like I think you brought up, Jake, to collecting things like sports cards? And I love sports cards, always have my entire life.
Yeah.
The same thing, opening a package, hoping to get something that's valuable. Really, it's just a piece of paper with someone's image on it, basically worthless unless somebody creates a demand for it of some kind. And I've loved sports cards collecting for like my entire life. So how would you distinguish the Labubu phenomenon from something like that?
Well,
I don't know if you can.
I can, and you just said it because you've loved them your entire life. This is a piece of your childhood that you've not carried into adulthood. Right. So you had a love for them as a child, which is the appropriate place to collect baseball cards. You've maintained that into your adulthood. I imagine in some small part to also connect with your kids.
Oh, they love it.
They love it.
Yes.
It's super fun.
I've indoctrinated them fully in the collectible world of athletic cards.
Absolutely. Like, I'm not a person who still builds. I don't go out and buy myself Lego sets, but I enjoy playing with Legos because I have children and they enjoy Legos. But I had Legos as a kid, so I'm able to, it's a throwback to my childhood. Same with baseball cards. I collected a ton of baseball cards as a kid. Labubus, as far as I understand it, it's a recent phenomenon. So an adult, grown person who suddenly is in love with these doesn't make sense to me.
Okay.
Unless they actually are making money at them, and then all's fair. I mean, if you got a Labubu that's $10,000 and somebody's going to buy it for $10,000 and you're going to make a good chunk of change, I can't hate that at all.
Well, and so Labubus are big business. We're bearing the lead a little bit. Thousands of fake Labubus.
Oh, yeah, that's the reason we're talking
were
about
seized in Seattle. To the tune of $513,000, according to U.S. Customs and border protection. And that's kind of astounding, something I hadn't heard about till this morning.
They seized 11,134 of them whose street value, I like that they have a street value like a drug, whose street value was $513,937.76. I guess we should add that in as well. That's a lot for 11,000.
We call them lafufus. It's a fake labubu.
Oh,
and
really?
fake labubus
Is that real?
abound. Lafufus, yeah.
Can you tell
That's
the difference?
very
Can
much
people
real.
tell that it's fake?
I couldn't tell.
But like a connoisseur,
Yeah,
a labubu
sure.
connoisseur would
A
know.
lafufu sommelier could probably sniff it
I find
out.
them a little creepy, to be honest with you.
I think that's kind of the point. Do you
maybe-
remember those
It's
Uglies
good
dolls
money.
that were really
Yeah.
popular in the 2010s?
No,
I
they
think
tried
it's a
to
very
make it
similar
happen.
energy.
So people get their jollies being like, yeah, it's a little creepy, but I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. But these are worth a lot of money. So good for them. But watch out for the fake ones. Apparently they're everywhere. All right. We got a lot more coming up. Text messages coming up next. Stick around.
Man wide open, touchdown Seahawks.
Celebrating 50 years of Seahawks football with the voice of the Seahawks, Steve Rabel.
Number 71, Walter Jones, left tackle. The anchor to the left side of the offensive line for the Seahawks that went to the Super Bowl. One of the best players in franchise history.
Since the beginning, KIRO is where Seattle and the Pacific Northwest have heard the Seahawks play. Here's to the next 50 years.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up, like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
If you've got a gas-powered engine, keep it running like new at every fill-up. Stable in-season protection is your engine's preventative medicine, cleaning and protecting the entire fuel system in season. In outdoor power equipment, prevent gum and varnish buildup that could cause a rough or non-running engine. For cars and trucks, increase fuel efficiency and power by removing deposits, ensuring your engine's long-term health. Stable outperforms the competition in independent lab testing. So at every fill-up, start with Stable.
Are you looking at senior living options for you or a loved one? If so, you likely have many questions like, what can I afford? How long will my savings last? And if I run out of money, will I have to move out? If these questions are weighing on you, I'm here to talk you through different solutions. Hi, I'm Amanda from Care Partners Senior Living. At Care Partners, we're focused on offering high-quality, compassionate care at very affordable prices to help stretch and preserve your assets. And if you ever run out of funds and need to convert to Medicaid, you won't have to move. We have vibrant communities throughout Western Washington, Spokane, and Arizona offering independent, assisted living, and memory care. Our caregivers are some of the most loving and genuine people you'll ever meet. Stretch your assets, preserve your estate, and never worry about moving. That's peace of mind in the Care Partners Living difference. Learn more at carepartnersliving.com. Care Partners is excited to announce our newest communities in Port Orchard, Sumner, Snohomish, and North Creek Bothell. Visit carepartnersliving.com.
You hear that? That's the sound of your business losing money. Legacy phone systems weren't built for today's teams. OpenPhone gives your business a smarter way to stay connected. OpenPhone lets you manage calls, texts, voicemail, and contacts all in one place so that you and your team can deliver a seamless customer experience from ring to... Need to take calls on the go? OpenPhone automatically transcribes, summarizes, and highlights next steps from every call, so you never miss a detail. Need insight into what closes a sale? With OpenPhone's AI call tags, you can instantly spot key topics like objections or pricing questions, and use those insights to coach your team and level up every customer interaction. And yes, you can bring your existing number with you for free. Keep your team in sync and your customers happy with OpenPhone. OpenPhone. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try OpenPhone for free at openphone.com/free and get 20% off your first 6 months. That's openphone.com/free. openphone.com/FREE.
Your time is money. So why are you wasting it stuck in I-5 gridlock, TSA slowdowns, and SeaTac crowds? Isn't it time to travel smarter? Seaport Airlines offers high-frequency commuter shuttle service from Seattle's Boeing Field to Portland. Park for free next to our terminals. Check in 20 minutes before your departure. Get there faster without the hassles. Seaport Airlines. It's about time. Book today at flyseaportair.com.
This is Anna.
I'm 68 years old, and I have arthritis in my left knee.
But Anna was not going to take that diagnosis sitting down.
I play pickleball, and I bike, and I ski, and I hike.
And that's when one of Anna's pickleball friends recommended stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine.
I probably could have had a knee replacement, but if I can delay getting a knee replacement another 10 years, why wouldn't I want to do that?
So she met with Dr. Wagner, she had the procedure, and...
I was back to playing pickleball in 4 weeks.
Of course, that's not all she was doing.
Well, I just got back from Maine. I was biking in Acadia. I biked probably over 100 miles for the 5 days, and no pain whatsoever in my knee.
And no surprise, Anna is now a fan.
Totally. I had such a good outcome. I'm a firm believer of trying it and see what happens.
So, before you choose surgery, consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Schedule your consultation at drmarkwagnermd.com.
Hey there, Lori from Guardian Roofing, Gutters, and Insulation. Want to keep your home happy and prevent roof water damage? The answer is gutters. So if you're looking for gutter installation, cleaning, gutter guards, or repair, Guardian is here to the rescue. With Guardian's exclusive gutter and gutter protection systems, we are able to provide our own 30-year no-clog guarantee on all gutter systems we install. Call today and get $250 off a gutter guard installation or visit us at guardianroofing.com.
Looking to hire? ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Save 50 to 75% by combining tax credits, rebates, and incentives on a new heat pump from Home Comfort Alliance. Visit HomeComfortAlliance.com.
Bonneville International Radio Station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on mynorthwest.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
All right, welcome back. We got your text messages. Man, we had a lot today. Thank you guys so much for sending them over. Why don't we start with Sound Transit's spending problem? Laura, go for it.
253 says, people cried when Trump was first elected. I cried when Sound Transit passed.
ST2 was 2008. I'm acting like I'm not reading it from Google. ST3 2016.
Was ST2 Sound Transit 2? Wasn't that for like $3-something billion?
I tried to memory hole it.
2016 ST3, they asked for $54 billion. That number starts to climb. They are now at $185 billion.
From Kirk and Mount Vernon, and they'll keep asking for horrific budgets for repair upkeep. Can you imagine if they put the same amount of money into our network of road systems? We have the finest in the world. Sound Transit makes the mafia look like a church group. Ouch.
And again, we talked about this earlier. They are serving a little over 1% of the commuting population will actually be using the light rail service when it's fully completed in 2095 or whatever year they're finally going to end in. So that's a lot of money to send their way. Benny the tugboat expert says, I took an extended trip to California and every large city I went to had light rail. There must be a reason, says Benny. Benny, he texts a lot. We love Benny, even if I disagree with him sometimes. San Diego in particular has a system there that the people love. They have the red, blue, and green trains. Benny, I would venture to guess if you were to start digging through the numbers in California. I mean, I know this for sure in California.
Hasn't been a screaming success there.
It's very expensive. They're delivering at times nothing, and it's serving such a small part of the population that you can't really justify the cost. But I know that anecdotally Benny is saying that they love it. I would challenge him on that. But thank you for the text message, Benny.
Yes, let's go to Sean and Cle Elum. Sound Transit should be paused until such time as our regular road and ailing bridge system is brought up to code and maintenance work is caught up. There's been $20 billion spent on a system that most taxpayers won't ever ride on.
You know what? I want to take just a half second to emphasize something that Sean just said, which I think is really important. This was Sean in Cle Elum. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Am I pronouncing that right? Cle Elum? Cle Elum? Cle Elum. How do you guys pronounce it?
Cle.
Cle. No, Elam. The Elam part. Is it Elam or Elam?
Elam.
Cle Elum. All right, Sean. He is so right. We are spending that amount of money, which is insane. Their budget, Soundtrans's budget, we talked about this earlier, $4.4 billion a year, which is 1/2 of what we spend in the entire state for our transportation budget, which is nearly $8 billion. It's more than half.
Costing each household nearly $2,000 a year.
$2,000 a year. And we just had a story last week about the White River Bridge, which got hit by a truck driving through. They had to shut that thing down. They don't know when it's going to get fixed. They're like, now it's transitioning into a single lane, let's take turns passing people through just to keep some of the traffic moving. There's 22,000 people who use that bridge a day, and they don't have the money to fix it. Governor Bob Ferguson had to request federal assistance just to get the ball rolling on fixing a 74-year-old bridge. And we're going to sit there and spend $4 billion a year on a train that 1.2% of the population is actually going to use. Those numbers don't make any sense to me. But I don't run things, so I guess it doesn't matter.
Moving on to Seattle's crime rate, Betty writes, it's not right to send the military weaponized against the American people. It's wrong. Trump is all about power and control. The news today that Trump wants to basically take over Chicago's law enforcement apparatus, and people asking, will the Trump administration eventually land in Seattle? We'll see.
We'll see. Laura, go for it.
On the most dangerous driver in Washington, Doug in Mount Vernon says 29 times in jail. One more time, this criminal will hit 30 times, which qualifies for executive level perks.
There you go. That's great. Then he just gets he already kind of has a get out of jail free card. I think at 30, they just will stop arresting you altogether. They just go, nah, get out of here, you scamp.
It's a de facto get out of jail
You're not
free
gonna
card at all times.
I want to read this real fast just because 206 sent this in, and this is not because it compliments me, but because they mentioned Dory, and I love it. It makes me feel really good. 206 says, just have to say, Jake, I believe you are really making Dory proud. I love the show today. Best in a while. Great job. That warms my heart so much. Anytime somebody texts in and says that the show gives them some sort of a feeling or a remembrance of when Dory used to do this, and I'll admit it right now, Dory did the show 1,000 times better than we could ever do it, and we're striving to do it a thousandth of as well as he did. But thank you so much. That compliment means a lot to me too.
Yeah, nobody worked harder. On the authentic Seattle spots you'd recommend to a tourist, Mary in the 503 says almost any place in Fremont is a good start.
Yeah, there you go. What is it? The Troll? Is that in Fremont? There you go. All right, Laura, give us another one.
David in the 206 had the exact idea that I literally tell visitors, so I have to read it. Pike Place, then walk the promenade down to the waterfront, then hop on the Bainbridge Ferry. A beautiful presentation of Seattle to visitors.
There you go. It is a beautiful city, in spite of its many problems. It's a gorgeous city. All right, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today. We really appreciate it. Stay tuned for the John Curley Show. Come back and visit us again tomorrow. It's gonna
Greg,
be a
you're
ton
here
of
all
fun.
week, right?
Looking forward to it. Thanks for having me in here.
Greg's back tomorrow, so tune in for that. All right, guys, we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Man wide open, touchdown Seahawks.
Celebrating 50 years of Seahawks football with the voice of the Seahawks, Steve Rabel.
Number 71, Walter Jones, left tackle. The anchor to the left side of the offensive line for the Seahawks that went to the Super Bowl. One of the best players in franchise history.
Since the beginning, KIRO is where Seattle and the Pacific Northwest have heard the Seahawks play. Here's to the next 50 years.
Cold is leaking and rocks are moving and mold is creeping and water seeping in. It's hard to be a homeowner, we know.
Without American Crawl Space and Pest Services, it is hard to be a homeowner. Dave Ross here. American Crawl are the heroes to call for insulation and pest issues because in addition to their great reviews and decades of experience, they also give out the most PSE insulation rebates of any insulation company in the state.
American Crawl, the heroes you call.
Get your free inspection at AmericanCrawl.com.
Eric Johnson here. I spent the past 30 years working to help make our community better informed, better protected when it comes to consumer issues, and better equipped to take on whatever life throws at us. That's why I love the free Washington Accident book series from Davis Law Group. These books keep us better informed about the law, better able to protect ourselves on and off the road, and better off when all is said and done after an accident. Chris Davis didn't have to write these books. He did it because he saw a need. People who were in accidents or other legal situations didn't know what to do, what pictures to take, documents to request. Only a tiny fraction of the people who get these free books will ever become clients of Davis Law Group, but that's not the point. Chris wrote them because it was the right thing to do. The free Washington Accident Book Series is a must-have for drivers who want to be prepared for whatever the road might throw at them. Get yours at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
Hey, this is Pete from Home Matters. Tune in this weekend when we'll talk with local business owners about everything in and around your home. Join us on Saturdays from 2 to 3 right here on KIRO News Radio, or listen to the podcast on mynorthwest.com.
KIRO News Radio has your chance to win 2 tickets to see The Who at Climate Pledge Arena September 25th. Your last chance to see them live. Head to mynorthwest.com/win to enter and to see contest rules. That's mynorthwest.com/win for your chance to win.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Real Success. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at ourrealsuccess.com.
Do you want to learn how to make money flipping houses and acquiring rental properties right here in Seattle without using your own money? You'll learn to flip houses and secure rental properties in your spare time to get on track towards real wealth building. We're offering a handful of motivated individuals the opportunity to attend our workshop right here in Seattle for free. That's right, we'll give you 2 free tickets when you text FREE to 64,000. Seattle is the perfect market to flip houses and build rental income. Don't miss this opportunity. Come to a complimentary live 2-hour workshop this week right here in Seattle and learn how to start making money flipping homes and building long-term wealth with rental properties. To get 2 free tickets, text FREE to 64,000. Text in the next 10 minutes, and registrants will also receive a free copy of our Funding for Deals guide. Text FREE to 64,000 for 2 complimentary tickets. Text FREE to 64,000.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owe the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me. They calm me down. They make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-972-0588. 800-972-0588. 800-972-0588.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio. KIRO.